So as the match gets underway in perfect conditions with a crowd better than the one we saw for the Hawthorn match, but still not of great proportions. Probably about 7,000 people. The Bears into attack through Williams, a long shot at goal, right off line, out of bounds on the full. And it's Harris, that new fullback Kevin was talking about, to take the free kick in the last line for Brisbane. Out to half back, many up. Larkin had possession, lost it a second time, and finally a ball up. Half forward flank for the Bears, who are going from right to left. Some empty seating in the background, but most of that outer seating flatters the Brisbane effort a bit more than that. Crocker looking unhappy. It looks as though he's been penalised, and it's a free kick to the Bears on the half forward line. And it looks like Walsh over there, who's going to have the ball delivered to him by Jeffrey Rains. Former Collingwood teammates teaming up in 87 on the half forward line for Brisbane. And Walsh kicking long to the pocket, not choosing the centering kick. O'Brien, 28, up from behind. Now Williams, the vice-captain, who does opt for the centering kick. Hickey in front, Micken from behind. Thought a mark might have been paid to the man in front. Campbell, who's up in the attacking half. Hickey. Williams now lines them up. Attempt number 2 for Mark Williams, and second time lucky. Within 90 seconds, the Bears have the first goal of the match. 2 shots on goal by Williams, the first one missing everything, the second one home and dry.
Well, we see Mark Williams, who has been down in recent weeks against Essendon in heavy conditions. He played poorly because they're conditions that really suited Mark Williams, but that's typical of Mark. He's usually a very accurate kick around goals, and that's going to be the start that the Bears are looking for as far as their confidence.
Johnny Mossop. Down went Rains. Steve McCann, incidentally, has opened at full forward when there was much... Well, the papers were telling us it was going to be Philip Cracker, which was highly unlikely. But McCann, labouring under injury in full forward, he can do it and can do it well. Micken and Mossop having a good battle. Fighting for it was Bernie Harris. And then diving was Spargo over the top of an opponent. There's Peter Knights, who really has enjoyed living in the Gold Coast, but hasn't had a great deal of delight with his team in the last few weeks. Again over the back. Down to a half-forward flank, and easily taken there by O'Keefe. He gets away well. Across to Harris's good football. Tries a short one. It's very short, and the mark is taken there by Becker. Tony Beckett, who we saw play his first game. He looked most promising, one of the local league. And Brisbane are very worried they won't get many from them, but he looked good, and Carlson looks good, and that's a lovely left footer right to the teeth of goal. Almost taken by Harris. Brad Hardy screws it back and misses. Got it! Well, the crowd was very quiet, and Brad Hardy, who was picked in the back pocket, but not unexpectedly to anybody, ends up in the forward line, kicks a fine goal.
Well, he's played in the forward line the last couple of weeks, Doug, and Darren Steele, who's been in sensational form, has the job of picking up Brad Hardy, but against Essendon, who was well off target. But what a start for the Brisbane Bears. 2 goals in the opening 4 minutes of play, and coming off that opening...
Breeze, Kev?
Yes, against the breeze, because North Melbourne is kicking to the southern end, and that certainly is favoured by a breeze, and in the reserves game, the early game, that was the scoring end.
So inside 4 minutes, 2 goals to the Bears. Tremendous start. Jumping North Melbourne. And just what the doctor ordered for them. And on these strange grounds, I think the home teams perhaps do have that opportunity to get an early jump. The Bears looking to capitalise. Jimmy Cracker winning the hard ball. And McRae putting North into attack. Brother Phil Cracker on the half-forward line. But Dixon, who's Phil Cracker's tag back there, finds Walsh on half-back. Switches play and does it nicely. And the Kangaroos.
Carlson.
Through Carlson to Harris. Good delivery to half-forward. The Bears working it well. O'Keefe to Hardy. Williams, well spoiled by Hickey. And the Roos get off the hook, but look perilous for them for a moment. McRae up courageously, Larkin at ground level. Jim Cracker inside on the centre line for North. Bad kick though, nothing there for North Melbourne at all. Reynoldson runs onto the ball.
And on to McCarthy on the back line. McCarthy short to Waterson was clever. Brisbane Bears looking very good. Waterson half-back flank. Play on, says the umpire. Mark Micken from behind, but he's too far back. Almost taken by McRae. Buffeting it over the line was Campbell, and it's out of bounds. Been a beaut battle between the two giants here. Mark Micken has been a wonderful success, the captain, but John Mossop is getting better and better. The extra long player won that one beautifully, then recovers, kicks it himself. Out towards the flank it goes, and the mark is taken on half-forward flank by Fairley, who's been one of the best marks in the competition.
Goes for McCann. Oh, well done, McCarthy from behind. Got the job at full-back.
They've moved McCarthy to full-back, and O'Keefe is now playing at centre-half forward for the Bears.
Dangerous kick. Walsh makes it safe, but my word, it was a perilous proposition. Walsh in the back pocket. 3 kicks already, and beautiful delivery to Dixon, and a different-looking Bears today. Rains to the centre. Bad miss Richardson. Ross Smith. Bad fumble. Law atones for his error, but straight to Walsh again, who's got it on a string.
Yes, I think that's possession number 4. Been a brilliant player throughout the season. Started with Collingwood. Best first-year player, was a recruit of the year. Then didn't really kick on. Micken back to Walsh, will get another possession. Looks for a hand pass to Waterson. Waterson down towards Harris. Banfield. Out wide, Williams is the target. A good spoil once again by Hickey. Running with it nicely is O'Brien, but then takes it over the line out of bounds.
2 goals straight. Brisbane. North Melbourne yet to score after almost 7 minutes of play. Mossop and Micken. Mossop nicely, getting better with every game. Williams tenacious today. Campbell, but short-circuited by Fairley. Jim Cracker, great ball handling. And now Spargo it is to half-forward. Cracker beautifully with the hip, nudging out. Dixon goes all the way with the long dribbler and misses. North Melbourne's first scorers are behind at the 7-minute mark.
It's a pretty intelligent kick by Phil Cracker, and I think that watching the broadcasts, the people sitting at home will realise he kicks like that. He kicks low trajectory kicks, doesn't try to kick him too hard, but the bounce that time, not really favourable.
That's one of the ones Kevin loves to see, when they just do it controlled fashion. Out wide, dangerous. Campbell misses what he should have taken. Spargo once again, short across towards... It was to go to McCann, but it was Jonas. Now it's with McCann. McCann hooks it and hooks it badly. And that's their first, or their second score in the last few moments. And Steve McCann at full forward registered his first scoring shot.
And a real let-off too for the Bears, because that was a very poor effort by Campbell.
Waterson down the middle. Reynoldson spoiled well by Fairley, but wins it at ground level. Campbell now. Well done. Robust stuff. Carlson. O'Keefe under this, getting away from Segler. 55 metres from goal if he can get balanced for a shot. He does. And he misses. The Bears get their first behind and lead 13-2 beyond the 8-minute mark of the first term.
That was a beaut opportunity there for David O'Keefe. He did everything right and steadied beautifully, but kicked badly. Harris, who kicks long distance out wide, looking for Mossop. Micken there behind him. Mossop almost won it. Umpire's decision is to take a free. There's a good kick. On the half-back line, he drives downfield, looking for Jonas in front. And there's the pack tumbling on top. There'll be a bounce about centre wing position. Jay Kennedy, one of the most famous names in football. Son John still playing very well for Hawthorn. Jonas. Almost taken away. Eventually picked up by Robertson. Robertson downfield. In front is McCarthy. Tackled by McCann. Phil Cracker with it now. Long hand pass out wide is a good one to German. He hits on but doesn't hit it on well. And out of danger it goes, and Jeffrey Rains has got the run of the ball on the boundary line. Jonas comes to meet him. Look out, Carlson. Carlson was flattened over the line by McRae, but he'd fumbled the ball very badly, but he's going to get a free kick nevertheless because it was in the back, and Carlson takes the free on the half-back flank.
Goes for Micken and O'Keefe from behind. Segler at the back. Good little hand pass and worked nicely for Robertson to half forward. Oh, Dixon, a bad fumble. but gets support. McCarthy, shocking kick, straight to Robertson. Forward of the wing for North Melbourne, and looks for some movement. Goes towards McCann. McCarthy wearing in closely. McCann and Cracker can raffle it. Jim Cracker, that's North Melbourne's first. It took 10 minutes in coming, but they look as though they're settling after a shaky start, and the margin back to 5 points.
And just like his brother, not attempting to really kick the ball too hard here, but good play by McCann, who fought for that front position and does a nice piece of shepherding here, realising that Jimmy's got that necessary pace and was easily able to keep Dale Dixon out, and Jim just grubbed that one through.
Gee,
they're very intelligent. Yeah, they're very, very intelligent.
I don't know, Kev, yeah, but gee, I thought he might have expected too many bounces that time. But
oh, it's a flat pitch, Doug.
He knows, yeah, flat pitch, no turn on at the moment. Mossop. Rains boots it down. Williams in front and got in front beautifully that time. Competitor personified is Mark Williams. Was going to short pass to Brad Hardy. Wisely changed his mind. There he is right on the 50s, about 55 metres out as he kicks it. He kicks it across. It's a good-looking kick. It should have been marked. The free kick is going to go to O'Brien. I thought he should have held it, but the free kick is there. And that'll give him some heart because he's up against some tough opponents today. And Cameron O'Brien. Here it comes.
Cop one high in the face there.
High. I was just going to say he didn't really hold it long enough.
It was a good umpiring decision.
Well, what a good decision it'd be for Peter Knights and the team if their third goal was registered as we tick into the 12-minute mark. And it should be a goal. It is. No, it swings away the wrong way. Well, two that they could have got, Kev.
Well, they're playing pretty well, the Bears. I've been impressed with the way that they're running the ball. Last couple of times we've seen the Bears, they've been very stagnant and they've tended to kick very, very short. But today, obviously, Peter Knights wants plenty of running, plenty of hand passing and good kicking to position.
Segler for North Melbourne out to the centre line. Beyond the centre line as it rolls and rolls. Campbell brought down. Gibson it was, thanks. Throw in between centre and half-forward flank for North for the Bears. 14 plays 8 at the 12.5-minute mark. Good knock by Segler, but nice and clean, but straight to Rains. Richardson back to Rains from half-back. Long, but no one there on the half-forward line for Brisbane. And Fairley a fine mark at centre-half back.
And interesting, Tim, they've put Fairley to centre-half back and Segler now to centre-half forward.
It is an interesting one. That was very quick. Robertson downfield. German the target. Rains is his opponent. Richardson comes in. Jimmy Cracker beat him. Jim Cracker across it goes. Cleverly it is too. Spargo will steady now and sends it long and strong and beautifully. And that was lovely team football. And as is so often, there was Jim or Phil Cracker. And at this time it was Jim Cracker who got it across to Phil Spargo. And a lovely bounce. Great kick.
Well, Jimmy really attacked that ball very hard then, and once again, that bounce, Doug, he knows the pitch here. I tell you, it doesn't take any spin whatsoever, and it bounced up beautifully for Spargo, who we saw against Essendon playing off that half-back flank and also ruck roving, and he was magnificent that night, and he's been one of the players who in recent weeks has really lifted North Melbourne. But the danger of these small men of Phil Cracker and Larkin, and of course Jimmy Cracker, that's the problem that faces the Bears.
13.5 minutes gone, and North have tied it up after a slow start, and they're into attack again through Crocker. Great solo effort. Segler just about a throw. Spargo, nice bit of handball, and now German goes for home and drives it through. North get their third. Well, the first took 10 minutes, but three have come in 4 minutes to give North the lead by 6 points.
Well, Peter German's their leading kick getter for the kick winner for the year. And we've seen him come off the bench a couple of times, Doug.
Missed a match too, Kev. Missed one match completely.
So he's just one of those players who just has uncanny ball sense at getting exactly in the right position and very rarely misses. He's got terrific goal sense, but getting the ball quickly out of the centre and moving it down the field, certain Peter Knights be pretty disappointed if they don't really tighten up.
So they need one now. Mossop tries to get it down, does it all right. Here he goes again, German. Kicks it downfield, in front Reynoldsson. Waterson there to assist him. Jim Cracker taking them both on and does frustrate them. They can't get away with it, so he's performed his duty and there'll be a bounce, but North are in attack. That's about centre-half forward.
Umpire Snedden 40 metres from North's goal. Waterson reigns. Off half-back, just getting rid of it in time, but was off balance as he did so. Crocker. Swinger beyond half-forward. Segler. Hands on it. Good mark. He's been paid. Juggled it all the way down. Finally lost it as he hit the deck. But had been juggling it long enough for the umpire to be impressed. And a fine juggling effort it was. Debatable.
Yes, eyes on ball beautifully, wasn't it? But it tapped away just on about the third juggle.
40 metres out, directly in front. And North for their fourth goal. And they get it too. Segler's first. The Kangaroos lead by 12 points at the 16-minute mark.
Well, John Kennedy pretty quick to make that move, with O'Keefe winning a couple of kicks early in that first quarter, playing on young Segler, and quick as a flash, he went fairly down to centre-half back and Segler to centre-half forward. Debatable mark, I suppose. He had it 2 or 3 times, but the moves paid off with Segler kicking that goal. So John Kennedy showing that he might be an old-time coach, but he's pretty quick to make moves.
Stephen Rendleson got a message from the runner then, and he was pretty angry about it too. Rendleson, incidentally, being Segler's opponent, but he gesticulated at the runner and as good as told him to go mind his own business, but it wasn't the runner. He was bringing out the John Kennedy stuff. Over the back it goes. John Mosser punches this one. Eventually it's booted down by Campbell. Underneath it, Smith might have taken a free, was not given. Mark Williams kicks off the ground very well. Lovely football, Williams, and it was picked up there by O'Brien and puts it through with his left foot. But really, Mark Williams has been all you'd ever desire, Kev, with this first team.
Well, he's been a great player across the half-forward line. I just wonder now whether John Kennedy will move Hickey as quickly as he moves Segler, because Williams has been very, very dangerous on that forward line. And they've lined up quite intelligently, the Bears, with Williams playing inside the 50-metre square, Hardy virtually on the edge of the 50-metre square, and O'Brien in the square. And that's similar to the setup that Hawthorn had here a couple of weeks back, with a very, very open forward line, with just 3 players virtually between the goal square and the edge of the centre square. So maybe Peter Knight has taken a bit of a leaf out of Alan Ginger's book.
So the Kangaroos 26 lead the Bears 20 at the 17.5-minute mark. High tackle is the ruling, and Banfield takes a free kick. Peter Knight's the perpetual furrow these days, as Banfield kicks to half forward. Campbell comes from behind. He's been operating at either end of the ground. O'Keefe back to Campbell. Can kick well with the left boot. Does. Shepherding, but unsuccessfully, O'Brien. Hickey with 2 to beat. Hardy with tremendous desperation and gets a free. Got the body in front of Hickey. And 15 metres as well will bring Hardy to within about 15. In fact, brings him to the edge of the square. Desperate lunge from Hardy. I think rather lucky to get a free kick, because he just threw his body into the oncoming Hickey, who really had no option.
Well, his momentum actually pushed Hickey's legs from underneath him, didn't it? But still, if you're prepared to go in after the ball, you've got to get every opportunity from the umpire.
Well, a charity one to a degree is the Bears' fourth. It ties it up at 4 goals to apiece. Charitable in that it was a debatable free kick, close to goal, 15 metres as well. And that was everything that any forward could ask. So that one, I suppose, against Hickey's copybook. And Hardy, in fact, has the Ruck Rovers changing on him. Steele and Larkin are changing off Hardy.
Well, so far, though, Tim, I don't think that Steele has gone on the ball. He's been perched on Hardy since that opening bounce. And I would think that maybe you think he's been on?
Larkin's been playing on Hardy, was on him for about 5 minutes.
Fair enough.
And from the centre, McRae's got an opportunity. Hand passes nicely. Here's Larkin on the ball. Drives it down the half-forward line. Stephen Rendleson took it. Didn't hold it long enough. Robertson tackles him. Jonas cleverly out wide. Spargo again. Here comes Cracker. Phil Cracker will take a free kick against Dixon. It was there all the way. And this will be another goal. Philip Cracker, the left footer with the unusual kicking style, but utilises every kick beautifully, and I think from about 20-odd metres out. If ever you can call a near certainty. Umpire ran across. And did he miss?
The reason he missed that, Doug, if we see it on the replay, he ran so close to Dale Dixon on the man on the mark that he actually had to pull his kick to make certain that, you know, he didn't kick into the man on the mark.
The huddle on down the middle of the ground. Breaks up as McCarthy kicks, and McRae was the leaper. Rains now at half-back, high tackle, and a free kick to the centreman. Working hard in the early part. Carlson. In front, O'Keefe got clean hands on it, then bundled his teammate over. Banfield. Larkin. Hand pass just carrying to McRae, but putting him under pressure. High tackle. No, play on is the call. Well, perhaps it was a free kick the Bears' way, and advantage was invoked. I thought it was going the other way, and now throw in on the Bears' half-forward line.
And Hardy made a mistake there, but he clapped his teammate in the person of Carlson for kicking the ball well to him. He lost it to Steele, lunging it over the line. Carlson comes in strongly. McRae downfield. Lovely trap by Rains. Carlson quick. Banfield down. Great leap by Harris, but went too early. O'Brien doing well. Out to Richardson. He'll give it across to the flank to Philip Walsh. Walsh onto that trusty left foot, then drives it out wide looking for O'Brien again, and he takes it. And what a beautifully delivered pass. And Philip Walsh can really kick a football. There it is. And this is another wonderful opportunity. With the scoreboard only 1 point the difference. North Melbourne leading 4-3 to 4-2. There's O'Brien, who's kicked one from a difficult angle, but not very far out. And there's a trainer, or two trainers, with Johnny Mossop in between them, and it's actually impeding the run-up of Cameron O'Brien. There's John Mossop. He's really feeling a bit sick and sorry at this stage. Now it's O'Brien. He'll come in. When he kicks, it'll be about 35 metres out. And he hit the post. What bad luck. And at the 22.5-minute mark, the scoreboard is level, and O'Brien can feel pretty happy with his contribution of 1 goal too.
So a good first quarter. Oh, fantastic leap and mark to Beckett, is it? Yes, it is. A tremendous effort from Tony Beckett. And a good pass too, but Reynoldson brought it undone by running into the flight of the ball when it was meant for a teammate. McRae back to the centre line. Waterson from behind. Support from Rains. Well done. And a good hand pass to Walsh. Back to Rains. From between half-back and centre. Kicks very wide. Campbell. Front on tackle from Cracker. Mark or the free kick to Campbell. Just forward of the wing.
Matthew Campbell. Down towards the half-forward flank looking for Micken. And it's over the line. A very, very good leap that time by David Segler again. Spoilt the opportunity for Micken to mark. Micken's been a wonderful mark throughout the season.
And Segler now, Doug, has gone into the ruck, and Donald McDonald now to centre half forward with Mossop leaving the ground.
And the key position changes coming thick and fast. A long hand pass by O'Keefe. Here's Hardy again. Hardy hooks it back towards the goal. Williams. And I think he pushed his opponent out. And the free kick will go to North Melbourne.
If nothing else, he trod on the heel of his boot.
Hickey.
2 15-metre penalties against Williams. Hickey having replaced the boot, which Williams just about brought off. And North working it back to the wing where Jonas should have held that. Throw in the end result. Right on the wing. And a bad miss by the veteran, Peter Jonas, who's fought such long battles against injury. Couple of broken legs. Carlson, swinging kick, under pressure, not covering a lot of distance. Hardy, good fist on. Banfield. Now Hickey versus Williams. It's a rugged clash between these two. No quarter asked or given. Hickey wins this time. Steele, pressure. Got the kick very cleverly, quickly to McRae, who had 2 to beat. Tackled well on Carlson. quickly off the ground, German. Now Robertson inside to Spargo. Good pass to McCann.
Ooh.
Bad miss. Ball almost travelling too quickly for him. Reynoldson in the back pocket under pressure, deliberate. But the umpire satisfied that it was a legitimate option and a throw in the result. Steele in trouble now.
Yes, Darren Steele being supported off the ground. That's John Mossop just being supported off. So they're down to 18 fit players at the moment as McDonald goes well above the pack, but Campbell has got a wonderful opportunity. He'll be tackled by German, breaks the tackle, kicks towards the boundary line. Carlson manoeuvres well. McRae punches it away from him. Carlson now with the ball. Back towards centre wing and David O'Keefe. Oh, good spoil fairly. Micken comes in to give some assistance, but it bounces over the line away from him, and it's out of bounds on half-forward flank with the Northerners in attack.
And Steele has gone off, and David Ackley has come on for North Melbourne.
In time on in the first term. Campbell, hurriedly. Awkward for Richardson, but beautifully trapped. Not such a good hand pass. Micken, now Banfield, but that was well done, Smith. To German at half-forward. Might run on, he thought about it, decided against it. Waterson had him covered. German half-forward flank. McCann leads. And in short is Jonas on the 50-metre line. Will kick from about 55. So it is a scoring chance, but a long testing shot. 4 goals, 3 apiece. At the 26-minute mark, Jonas sprays it, going for distance. Misses the whole target. Free kick to the Bears to be taken by McCarthy.
McCarthy's done well against Steve McCann. Steve missed a mark just a few moments ago from a lovely pass that he should have taken. It'll be Micken and Segler and Jonas, and Micken wins it. Didn't quite hold it long enough. Now he gets a hand pass. In lots and lots of trouble, taken away with Jim Cracker. A kick by Jonas. And I think the penalty will go against Jonas, and the free kick will be taken by Harris. And he's really holding his thigh muscle. Kicks it very short to Micken, just covers the traditional 10-15 metres. Now Mark Micken is about on the 50-metre mark. Segler's in good position, a bit late from behind, and a fine mark taken in front by Campbell.
Kanga with the collar loosened in the Gold Coast heat as Campbell kicks to the wing to Richardson. Plenty against him though, and a throw in. Just on the Bears' attacking side of the wing. As the Bears make a change, Bernie Harris off, hobbling, and Phillips comes into the action for the maroon and golds. Carlson in courageously. North winning the ball away through fairly. Micken from behind had hands on it. Rains back to Carlson on the centre line. Bad miss, awkwardly spinning ball though. Banfield as the Bears mount an attack late in the quarter. Up to Williams and Hickey, the rugged pair. A lot of body jostling, didn't get near the ball. Ackley out wide. Walsh winning that duel with Crocker, but Crocker comes out on top this time. Lovely long hand pass to Spargo. Good runner for North Melbourne. Now Law off half-back to McCann. Good movement of the ball by the Kangaroos. And McCann will have a shot from 50 metres out. And that's a distance he can kick. This veteran of over 200 games. Lovely long thumping kick of the ball. And at the 28.5-minute mark, he might well put North in front. Lovely looking kick is home for all money. North Melbourne get their 5th. I thought from that distance he might use the spiral punt to make sure that he got the distance, but he didn't even condescend to use that. Just used the drop punt and covered the distance at post height.
And that makes up for the one that he missed before that he should have taken with that real hard low trajectory kick from Spargo. But he can be dangerous, Tim, because we've seen before that no matter where he is on the field, within 55, 60 metres, he's such a thumping kick that particularly kicking with a slight breeze. And I would say that it possibly is a 2-goal breeze that North Melbourne is kicking with.
He's kicked 22 for the season. He spent some time on the back line. Out it went to Crocker, and Crocker will take a free kick. It was socket off the ground in the Crocker direction by Larkin. Crocker, who really is one of the North Melbourne players who looks as if he'd be a very good player of the future. Nice hand pass out wide there from German again, and here comes James Cracker. Hooks it back with a left footer. Underneath it, Steve McCann almost took a good one, picked up by Phillips. Not a good hand pass, but Campbell's got time. Doesn't do anything with it. This time he gets it. Got time just and drives it out towards centre wing position. It's nicely positioned. Phillips better hurry, which he does, and kicks it well to Richardson, who misses a sitter. Took his eye off the ball badly. Smith kicks it downfield. Spargo didn't take it. Raines dodges cleverly. Free kick is signalled for him. Here's Gibson out to centre half back to Stephen Reynolds. They're fiddling around a lot. Back it comes to Dixon. Dixon out wide now, running with it is Crocker and diving at it. A fine mark taken by Walsh. O'Keefe to Walsh.
To half forward. Segler in the way though. Shocking kick from Walsh. Straight down the throat of the defender. Law just getting the hand pass away, but there's the siren. And at quarter time at Carrara, the visitors, North Melbourne, leading by a goal after...
Can utilise those possessions in this second quarter, kicking with a slight breeze.
We have seen them have lots of use of the ball and waste it in other matches. They'll be trying to capitalise on it. Certainly outgetting the ball, as David Parkin once said in his review of a match in that first term, but not quite making the most of it on the board. But now with a slight breeze, they have their chance. The quarter underway for 20 seconds. 33 plays 27. North Melbourne in front at Carrara. Beautiful day here, and perhaps some improved weather might be in the Bears' favour, because they would have done a lot of pre-season training in genuinely warm weather, and perhaps they're a bit more conditioned to that sort of thing. A North free kick here to Spargo on the centre line. Kicks to half forward. Reynoldson going the spoil against McDonald. Waterson all met high. And it wasn't Ross Smith that time, it was Peter Jonas.
Yeah, it was. It was a bump around the head. And Ross has given a couple away, but what a fine player is Ross Smith. To Micken is a good kick. Very good kick.
Mossop back there, incidentally, contesting there, so he's back in action.
Micken to O'Keefe as the target. O'Keefe had the run of it, but didn't make the best of it. Harris hit it out in front, and Ackley now, who was on Hardy, puts it across to Larkin, back to Ackley. They're running the ball down to centre wing now. Ackley sends it back towards centre half forward. Reynoldson running with the flight of the ball. Well played, it comes over the back, and Jonas a bit slow. Banfield missed it. Diving at it was Waterson. Picked up there and driven out, and it's still the Swans. Fine football by Reynoldson again. Stephen McCann leads. McCarthy's his opponent. McCann onto his left foot, hooks it back towards the centre square, and Phil Cracker twists and then centres and kicks it beautifully as usual. Your turn, Brother Jim. Brother Jim shoots for goal and puts it through the centre. Well, they are miraculous, Kev.
Well, we talk about sixth senses, Doug. There was Phil Cracker. He dropped the mark. He spun around. He was only about 25 metres out from goals, and I dare say there were a number of North Melbourne players around him, as you can see just in the picture there, but still something guided into Brother Jim, who was standing somewhere near the edge of the 50-metre line, and Jim, of course, just popped that through for goal number 2, and certainly they combined magnificently together.
2.5 minutes gone, and that's a handy goal for North. Puts them 2 goals in front. Heavy stuff in the centre. On Jim Cracker, brilliantly to German. 60 metres from goal, so he chips it short for Jonas, who's inside 50, sprays with the left boot. And a free kick to the Bears is the result of that. Shocking kick.
The second time that that big prominent number 45 has kicked so badly. McCarthy with the ball. Big leap by Reynoldson, but a great punch by Crocker. Thumped that time
Gibson.
By Gibson there. Here comes Johnny Law. Taken away from him by Banfield. And really, Banfield has done a few superb, courageous tackles there. The things that don't go down in the stat book too often, or you don't take much notice of them. And the rucks again. Jim Cracker almost got a good one. German, the good kick, as Kevin has said so often, he just doesn't know how to miss. And that was picked up and in a flash was ball to boot, and a beautiful kick, beautiful goal by German.
And Jeff Raines just stood there with his hands on his hips. Just couldn't believe that German was able to so quickly size this up. Only one step, and he really did split the centre with that kick, did Peter German. And that's one of the difficulties that Jeff Raines has playing on a player such as Peter German, is that he's such a goal sneak.
So 2 goals to North in the first 4 minutes of the quarter. Just what the Bears didn't want. The margin 18 points. Ackley, fairly, from half back. Nicely to Crocker, beautiful delivery. hitting the running Crocker on the chest. And he dishes out a bit of his own. Spargo, forward of the wing. Centres intelligently. Too far for McDonald. Running back with courage. Reynoldson. Rains. Out of defence for the Bears. Campbell in front. Mossop. Ooh, just about a kick in danger. Would have been a couple of years ago. Larkin on the 50-metre line. Drives it long, but offline. And the Kangaroos go to 7-4-46 and lead by 19 points.
Just trying to work out what's happened to that breeze that Kev and myself have talked about. It seems to...
Well, it's still there, Doug.
Still there, yeah, but not helping the side much, Kev. They're not getting enough kicks. McCarthy out wide. Always do they look for Micken. Always is Mossop with him. Awkward bounce. Hit out towards Walsh. Kick off the ground was good football by Phillips. And here's some nice football by Fairley, who's fitted into centre-half back very comfortably. McRae doesn't handle that too well, but he's got time to go again. Dodges a couple of tackles, steadies onto his left boot and kicks it, and is beautifully intercepted by Waterson. Waterson's at centre-half back. Desperately need a sally forward to score a goal. Straight to Spargo. Terrible kick, and Spargo takes them on.
15 metres against O'Keefe for dragging him down. The 31s, famous football number, and another 15.
Silly play.
And the man on the mark now is on the 50-metre line, so he might pay the ultimate penalty.
Just the man to kick it too, Tim, isn't he, number 31?
Knows where they are. Got one so far, kicks from 55 metres. Wobbly punt won't make the distance. McDonald forced to go the spoil, unsuccessfully. McCarthy's mark at full-back for Brisbane. 46 plays 27. North Melbourne in front by 19 points after Brisbane kicked the first 2 goals of the match and looked really sharp. Reynoldson, the one bear up. Banfield, beautifully done. Carlson now, forward of the wing. But the Bears behind up forward. O'Brien, the offender, Harris, the man out in front. 15-metre penalty, brings Harris out to half-back. Kicks long to the wing, where Micken and Mossop contest. Good knock on Mossop, set it up nicely. And Robertson across ground. And back to it goes Robertson for North, but taken away by Richardson.
Richardson's not sure where to give it. He wants to play as a team player and does it beautifully. Out wide it comes, a long kick by Gibson. And well played. Lovely mark by Cameron O'Brien again. He jockeyed for position. He was in poor position actually from behind, but made the best of it, and an excellent mark, tumbling back with it. And as Kevin said at quarter time, he really should have about 3 on the board, and he must score this one. It's almost point-blank range. The angle's about 45 degrees, and I think that's pretty safe. And he booted the ball over the stand. A desperately needed goal to the Bears to keep them in the game. That's his second.
And he played a game with Collingwood, Doug, and everyone always had a bit of opinion of Cameron O'Brien as being a very, very fine prospect. And that was a good mark because Harris is pretty strong in the air. And before, though, he made a mistake, O'Brien. He led too wide to the boundary line. I feel that if he does lead and leads straight up the ground, he's going to be more advantage to the Bears than leading wide on this big open spaces of Carrara.
Well, there's a bear cub, and there are a few bear cubs around. We had one up in the box before the match. Used to be an Essendon supporter, but now barracks for the Bears.
Casey Finley.
So they've got a few converts, and let's hope their converts have got plenty of faith, because they need it in this tough first season. Today, well, they trail at the moment by 13 points. Another ball up after a crush there. Robertson handing the ball to umpire Snedden. Micken versus Mossop. Neither has really played a dominating role so far, and look at that, like a rugby scrum. Darren Steele at the bottom, and another bounce. North's record, not a flattering one all time. One of the last group prior to the Bears and the Eagles to join the VFL in 1925, and it took a long time for success to come. Phillips boots the Bears into attack. Well taken, O'Keefe. Great mark, but a shocking hand pass. Put Beckett under pressure, but he's good enough to get out of trouble. Carlson long and inaccurately. Scores nothing, out on the full. And that was a wasted opportunity.
And Phillips is off for the Bears, and Bernie Harris is back on. And of course, Harris started the game on Jimmy Cracker. And Jim's kicked the goal this quarter with Harris off the field, so obviously he's over his injury and back into the fray.
Mossop, Mick and Battle yet again. They're nullifying each other. They're both competing so well. German on the half-back line this time is German. Kicks towards the centre looking for Jonas. Jonas went for the punch over. Gibson went for it. Goes to the ground. Long hand pass is a very good one. Banfield out nicely. The kick downfield, but it's not a good one. And Hickey takes it, decides to go on with it. Left foots it wide out looking for Crocker. Crocker's a good target too and takes the mark in front of Walsh. Great battle between two talented players. Crocker downfield, nobody at home except Donald McDonald. Give it to Ackley, which he does. Ackley's got time in centre wing now to give it to Philip Cracker. Gives it to him beautifully, and Cracker marks on half-forward flank. Now he's got the chance to give it to the leading McCann. But it's not a good one, and a nice interception, and it's well taken. No, it's not.
Gibson.
Gibson it is.
Who does, well, eventually the Bears do well. Waterson back to the centre line. Reynolds in front position, a juggler. O'Keefe takes it away, in fact, and kicks to half forward, but there's nothing there for Brisbane. Beckett overrunning it, and Ross Smith now for North. From just behind the centre, Long, and where are the forwards? Behind, McCann, Rains, ball up, centre half forward for North Melbourne, who are 46, leading the Bears 33, approaching the 11-minute mark of the second term.
The Bears have got one additional player on the forward line, which leaves Ross Smith alone and unattended. Just one kick behind the play in defence. He's playing McDonald. Campbell in lots of trouble. Wasn't a good one. Phil Cracker once again. Beautiful kick. He does it all the time. Out to Steele. Steele will shoot for goal in front of his German. I think he'll get that one from about 1 foot out. And that's the wandering centre man once again, and that's his third goal. 2 in this quarter, 1 in the first. And Jeff Rains will have to really keep a leash on him, Kevin.
Well, that's the ability of the North small men. Once again, we see it's Phil Cracker who can just chip it across, and Steele has just come back onto the ground after leaving in that first quarter. So they've got both Mossop and Steele back onto the field. What a beautiful little chip pass to German, who just has the ability to be in the right spot at the right time.
Big kick winner for North. Peter German. And big goal kicker too for a centreman. 3 today. Jeff Rains gets a moment of revenge. Kicks the Bears into attack. Good scouting, Bernie Harris just off the interchange. Richardson. Well played, Williams. Now Beckett, open goal. Drives it through. Well played. Nice teaming by the home side. And they strike back with their 6th and stay within respectable range.
And really good play by Bernie Harris, who carried that ball well. Michael Richardson here, always on the lookout for a hand pass. Sometimes maybe his unselfishness gets him into a little bit of trouble, but that time a beautiful tap on also by Mark Williams to Tony Beckett, the local Brisbane boy. And that's the sort of play that I'm certain would warm the heart of Peter Knights, moving the ball quickly.
Mossop wins this one. Chance for O'Keefe doing particularly well at centre half forward. Out to Gibson. On it goes, and Campbell makes it awkwardly, but he's got the chance to shoot for goal. He kicks a long one, he kicks a good one. Just floated over the head of the pack, and another, that was almost an instant goal, and they've dragged themselves right back into the play. North Melbourne 8 goals for, and the Bears are 7-3. That's 52 points to 45.
Well, Matthew Campbell's had the job of picking up Paul Spargo, and Spargo has been a good player, although Campbell has also figured in some nice passages of play, and he got a bit of his own back then by able to kick a goal that time on Paul Spargo. It's interesting with German, they start German outside the centre square on occasions, and then he runs into the centre square to take up a central position.
Here go the Bears again. How will it bounce? Not too well for them. Ackley read it beautifully and gets it off nicely to Jonas. Now Larkin in space with Ackley there to shepherd, and he does shepherd well. Now German on the wing. But the Bears have really tightened up. They're working much harder at the moment, running, moving the ball confidently when they win possession. And Campbell with the spoil forces a throw in. Halfway through the second term, the margin back to 7 points. just when it looked as though North might be ready to overrun the Bears, as the Swans and Hawthorn have done here at Carrara in the last 3 weeks. Crocker courageously, despite a man oncoming. Spargo beautifully. Ackley, the running defender, kicks long, but doesn't kick straight. And kicks North Melbourne's 5th behind, and they lead by 8 points.
Ackley's been a terrific player this quarter. He's really backed his judgment and left Brad Hardy. And on a couple of occasions when he's been, well, 50, 60 metres down the field winning the ball, Brad has been cooling his heels in the forward pocket. And I would think he'd probably have to keep an eye on Ackley, who is a very good ball winner. Well,
a message just went out to Brad, Kev, when you were talking there, and I'm sure the message was exactly what you've just said. Well played, McDonald beating Reynoldsson. Reynoldson's had no influence on the game at all at this stage. Steele hits it out wide. Here he comes. Jim Cracker shoots for goal. And I think he's done it again. He really is. Best and fairest winner last year. And he's all class and polish and attacks the ball really very, very hard, and has got everything that you expect of a top rover, Kev. One top rover.
Well, he's just magnificent, Jimmy Cracker. But full marks to Steele. And North Melbourne do it well with their small players, the tap-ons, the knock-ons, and, of course, Jimmy's 3rd goal. He's very, very like Jim Cracker, but he is very, although he hit the ground then, he's very difficult to bowl over. He sort of rides with bumps, Jimmy Cracker. You very rarely see him actually crash to the ground. He bounces off people. He sort of floats. He's a fantastic player.
14-point lead to North Melbourne again. Jonas from out of defence, out wide. Steele against Carlson. The ball just running away from Steele. Eventually he gets there just inside. Good tackle, Carlson. Forces the hand pass offline. McRae coming back for North Melbourne, and alongside him Peter Smith, former Kangaroo, is coming back into the fray for the Bears. Both waiting in the marshalling area to be interchanged.
Here we go, Mossop nicking one again. German doing particularly well. Kick is smothered. Oh, might have been a throw. Or was it a free kick? It was a free kick. It's going to the Bears. Harris tosses it back. In comes Tony Beckett. Darren Harris beautifully in front, doesn't hold what he should have taken. Spargo roving well, kicks to the boundary line. Hello, it says there, as it goes over the line out of bounds. It might have been on the full. The free kick will go to Campbell, the man who played for South Australia and plays so well for them in the state match. Umpire got in the road of O'Keefe that time. Here's Fairley. Fairley's hand pass out wide, picked up by Spargo. Spargo downfield. Chance for Carlson. Carlson then hand pass. No, he takes it himself. Steadies and he'll go for the long one. Sends it out wide looking for Williams. Williams and Hickey. Williams, beautiful. That really was a superbly judged mark. And he gets a pat on the back from Michael Richardson, the two of them who shared so many matches at Collingwood. But that was a gem of a mark by Mark Williams. And he's within kicking range.
And Brad Hardy's being taken from the field. And, of course, Brad has 2 goals. But this quarter has really allowed Ackley to run away from him.
That was the message, Kev, yes. The message went out to him that you'd indicated. Mark Williams, how is it? It's good. We're on the angle and we have to wait for the goal umpire. That's his 2nd. And Brad Hardy, who seems to suffer the fate so often of being taken from the ground. And yet he's such a brilliant player when on the ground, but he lapses in defensive technique sometimes, and the coaches are quick to react. Here it is again, Kev.
Yeah, well, one thing about Mark Williams, he is a strong player and he's a very, very accurate kicker, even though he has a bit of an unusual kicking style. But with Ackley doing so well, that enabled John Kennedy then to move Darren Steele onto the wing, and when young McRae left the field, and Steele's been a good player. So, you know, North Melbourne happy with that move.
Centre square infringement. Free kick to Mossop. Great paddle by Cracker to Spargo. Whistle, ball up just as it was coming loose. Perhaps a slightly premature whistle. North Melbourne's half-forward line. The Kangaroos in front by 8 points, but they haven't been able to shake off the Bears in a quarter and 18.5 minutes of the second. Reynoldson nicely. Richardson back to the centre. Under it, Law and Beckett. Well done, Law. Big height advantage there. Kicks beyond half-forward. McCann late on the scene. Crunching encounter. Reynoldson, good hand pass. Carlson off half-back, nicely to Richardson. Now Waterson, and the Bears putting it together today better than they have for a long time. Good spoil, Ackley, against a new opponent in Peter Smith, brought down illegally and gets a free kick. And Hardy might have a wry smile to himself down on the sidelines, because even against the new opponent, Ackley did it superbly. He's on the wing and puts North into attack.
He's only played 7 matches for the season. I've said it before and say it again. I can never understand Ackley being out of the side. Steele, nicely done. Out to the dangerous German. German, a hand pass across to Jonas. Jonas has sprayed a couple up to date. Phil Cracker almost took a good one. Gets away there from Dixon. He's got the chance. Well played, Dixon. Little bit of fortune, but did it well. Awkward bounce for Law. Or could have been a free kick to Walsh that time too against Crocker. It's not. It'll be bounced and temporarily out of danger of the bear. There's number 18, Philip Walsh.
North by 8 points, 20 minutes into the second term. Phil Cracker, Jonas and Steele. Pressure from Carlson, fine tackle. But Steele, ever so persistent. He's good too. Gibson goes for the line, finds it, throw in. North Melbourne's forward pocket. Scoreboard in the background showing an 8-point lead to North beyond the 20-minute mark, as Brad Hardy, for the moment, can just watch.
Redhead, left foot snap. What a good one it was by Steele again, and it was a beauty. He just threw it to his boot so quickly and casually glanced over his shoulder and indicated, I'm happy with that one, and a fine goal.
It's amazing, Doug, how little incidents can take place in a game that can work to your advantage, because we see Steele there with his knee strapped, playing on Brad Hardy early in the game, had 2 goals kicked on him, taken off the field after he hurt his knee. Ackley then does well in the back pocket of his replacement, then Steele comes back onto the ground onto Carlson and starts playing extremely well on the wing.
Yep. The fickle finger of fate, Kevin.
Fickle finger of fate, yep.
So North by 14 points. Micken beats Mossop. German again. Crocker. Oh, great acceleration. Crocker to Cracker. Jim. And Cracker Phil in there as well. But the Bears win it. Waterson. Back through the centre it goes. O'Keefe, the one target, but plenty of kangaroos there. Smith, Ackley. And now Spargo running onto it on the wing, and he has space when he gets there. From on the centre line. Well taken. Strong hands from Larkin under pressure. Bit of strong jostling going on there too. And Matthew Larkin between wing and half forward to put North well into attack.
Larkin, one of his quietest days. He's had such an absolutely magnificent season, and to prove it's not his day, he kicks it out of bounds, and that is just not like Matt Larkin. Waterson will take the free and give it short to Richardson. Richardson's done plenty of hard work out there today, and as Kev said earlier, always trying to be a team player, which is exactly what I'm sure the coach wants him to do, is to keep the ball running and running well. Reynoldsson goes. Behind him was Crocker. There's Mossop to give assistance. Reynoldson's judgment out today. Bad luck, Phil Cracker. Good punch by Gibson. McRae fights for it. And Phil Cracker emerges with the ball again and beautifully out to Steele. Short pass, beautifully done. This will be a goal. German again. Now he'll give it across to Steve McCann, and Steve just taps it through. Well, I always think it's the test of a very good side when you see them getting goals very, very easily, and they've been some easy ones in this quarter.
And Jeff Rains is a little bit bewildered because Peter German's actually playing in the centre, but he starts outside the centre square on occasions. Sometimes Spargo starts in the centre square. Then sometimes he'll just wander down to the half-forward flank, then back into the centre. And John Kennedy has Spargo, Steele and Larkin sort of playing about 3 different positions in a quarter, even though they have one central position. It's really fueling a couple of players.
John Law giving it the charge, gets it to Crocker as the Kangaroos are in attack. Steele from inside 50 metres. Looking to go long and then chipping it to McCann, and the mark has been paid, and McCann can kick his second in a minute, his third for the day, from less than 20 metres out directly in front. And the Bears have to do something, and they're doing it. Brad Hardy coming back, and he's not the only one. Brenton Phillips standing beside him, so a double change coming up.
Rains, Waterson.
As McCann drives it through
Smith
for his third goal. The margin is 26 points. And as I think they've been threatening to do, North Melbourne now running away.
And it's Carlson off also, along with Jeff Rains. Rains's had a lot of difficulty in trying to work out where Peter German is, and I think he's been caught up in the play, and Germany is such an elusive player. And John Kennedy plays it pretty smart. He seems to have Spargo, also Larkin,
Steele occasionally.
and Steele is one other player, playing right up the ground, round about the centre half back, and then they run the ball out.
Yes, and then you see them alone and unattended in the half-forward line. Here comes Law. Here's another chance. Badly missed by Segler. Very bad miss. Spargo going to have another shot for goal, and he's a good kick, this Spargo. That's a beauty. That was a good 50 to 55 metres and split the posts, bisected them perfectly. He's looking a very impressive player, Kevin.
He is very impressive, and this is an impressive last 7 or 8 minutes by North Melbourne. And once again, it comes from those players and who hover around that half-back line, centre wing position. And the idea, of course, is that they can run the ball out of that area into an open forward line, and with their skills, they can set up hand and foot passing. And it is very difficult to stop a side like that when they've got very talented players if opposition opponents don't run with them.
8 goals to North in this quarter in 25 minutes. The Bears have kicked 4, and they're in attack. Ackley and Williams. Ackley beating all comers. Richardson well tackled by Ross Smith, who's a toughie. O'Keefe, bit over 50 metres from goal. Tackled high and gets a free kick. As he was lying on the ground, the contact that was made was deemed to be high by the umpire, and O'Keefe from outside 50, perhaps a bit too far out to score, is having a look at the sticks. And don't the Bears need 1 or 2? They're down by 32 points, and it goes backwards because he kicked into the man on the mark. Shocking effort. Push in the back, another Bears free kick, and O'Keefe, pretty determined to redeem himself after the error, had really lunged onto that ball.
Centres it now. Mark Williams. Oh, gee, that was a good effort. He's taking on the big fellows. Now, Mark Williams is a true ruck rover build, and the team is so short of aerial strength that he's there taking on the biggies. And it was a beaut leap, that one. That was a fine mark. Well, let's see if he can kick a goal, because they desperately need it. He's kicked 2. He's been responsible for 1 or 2 others. He's really been an excellent player. It's not a bad-looking kick. He hooked it just a bit. It might squeeze through. It doesn't. But harking back to that long ground that we're talking about, Alan Jeans was saying to us on Thursday night that this ground is really suited to good sides. And he said it's a pity for the Carrara side, who aren't quite in that category. They didn't have a smaller ground short term.
31 points is North's lead. Harris looks for Mossop, who got his hands on it but hasn't been grabbing them today. Walsh under pressure and on the wrong boot. Campbell, a long way from goal, but it's a good hook shot, and well taken O'Brien. His 3rd very good mark up forward. And although on a very tight angle, he's not far out and could well kick his 3rd goal. Fine mark at full stretch. Crowd hooting as the umpire brings him around onto the most extreme angle possible. And yet, as you saw, he marked the ball a good metre in from the scoreline, and I think that angle's a bit unfair. His momentum was taking him back as he took the mark. He kicks beautifully with the left boot and says, "Cop that, umpire." His 3rd goal, he does say it too, and he cuts the margin to 25 points.
And what tremendous skills shown then by Cameron O'Brien to just run around on his left boot. It is a good mark here. He had the drop on Harris, of course, but still it was one that was going awfully close to the goal line. He was still able to judge it very, very well, and he's been a terrific player for him, a real focal point, something that the Bears have lacked just about in every game this year. I'm certain Peter Knight will be very impressed with Cameron O'Brien. If they can get the ball up to him, he's demonstrated that he's capable of kicking them a bag of goals.
I was talking to one of the greatest players that's ever pulled on a North Melbourne Guernsey at lunchtime, Les Foote. He said, he looks good this way, O'Brien, to me, and he's certainly right. He gives a long pass out towards James Cracker. He's well tackled by McCarthy. That was a super tackle across towards brother Phil. Gets away from Dixon, hooks it back, and hooks it very well. I shouldn't eulogise them too much, but they are a constant source of amazement, these amazing Cracker brothers. Radar-like skills between the two of them, and radar-like skills when they kick for goal.
This is a terrific tackle there by McCarthy, because Jimmy was going to get around him and then run into the open goal and just pop one through. But bit of mirror image there of his brother picking the ball up. You stop one and the other bobs up. But they are great players. But when you've got a forward line as open as what they can play at the moment, North Melbourne, it makes it very difficult for the backman of the Bears with the ball coming out of the centre so quickly.
McRae doing the heavy work for North, but alas, the Bears take it away. Alas for them. Williams from behind. Got it on his chest and dropped it. Richardson. Well played, Mike Richardson, and gives his side a chance. Bernie Harris kicks long. O'Brien again, and Hardy pushed in the back. No free kick. Throw in.
I reckon that was as equal a free kick as it was in the first quarter. The umpire put the whistle to his mouth, but just didn't have the energy to blow it.
Yes, it could have been on. It should have been on. Hardy got himself into position to play for that one, but still was there, I reckon. Left foot snap, and here's a chance now. Cameron O'Brien again. He's in tons of trouble. It was Gibson. Oh, dodging cleverly was Beckett. This time it comes back towards him. Chance for Beckett this time, and Beckett's kick for goal is just off direction. And some good, strong football by Michael Gibson. And Beckett at the last flung his foot at the ball, but one behind over.
30 points the difference. Harris having a tough day against O'Brien. Has a couple of good targets. Walsh was the only one against bigger men, and Fairley got the hand pass to German. Goes for Segler on the wing. Awkward bounce for him. Throw in. Right on the wing position. 31 minutes gone. Just about in the second term, but a long quarter because North have kicked 9 goals. Brisbane have kicked 5. 14 and a quarter is pretty good going. And now another ball up still on the centre line.
I heard Stephen Reynoldson's had a bad half. He's played so brilliantly throughout the season. Hasn't really taken one of his spectaculars and hasn't been able to get in the game. This fella's been in the game all the time, German. Back it comes towards another one who's in the game all the time, Phil Cracker. Spargo. Coming across his bows was Dixon. He's hotly pursued by Phil Cracker. Dixon gets it back, and there's a bit of fumbling there. Chance for McRae. Claiming the free kick for the Bears. There's Brenton Phillips, incidentally, who's come on the ground to take over centre position. And Harris is going to get the free kick. But Phillips gone on to centre to look after German. And the task was too big for one of the finest centre players we'd ever seen a few years ago in Jeffrey Rains, who in his Richmond days was really an absolute superstar. There's the siren for half-time with the Roos. North Melbourne 14 goals, 5-89, leading Brisbane.
Those players able to run into open space, they've really set up most of the North Melbourne attacks, even though the Bears have done quite well on their forward line, with Cameron O'Brien being a real good player at full forward, and also Richardson and Williams doing well. And
they're doing well at the moment. Williams to Richardson, but a sprayed kick out into the pocket. Hardy not getting there in time to keep it in. So a throw in the Bears' forward pocket out towards the flank. There's the half-time scoreline, 89-59, and North lead by 30 points. A win will put North back in the 5, where they were at the end of the last round, but of course they lost their place not having played yesterday. Clever kick, Phillips to full forward. Bernie Harris, if that's a goal, it's a miracle, but it's not. First score of the second half is a behind, coming after 50 seconds. The margin 29 points.
And the breeze is with Kanga's shin boners this quarter. There's Kanga, Kennedy. Beautiful kick out by Harris, almost to the centre of the ground. There it is, right in the centre as Reynoldsson picks it up. Then goes to the ground holding his head when he took one high. Jeffrey Rains pushes Jonas around, indicating you shouldn't do that to my pal. But that was an enormous kick of Harris's. There is the centre circle as Reynoldsson comes in to kick. His kick falls short. Out to Steele. Steele gets it out to Smith. And here's Segler. Segler short, kicks it straight to McCarthy. Very poor kick. McCarthy into Reynoldsson. Reynoldsson across to Rains. Now Jeffrey wants to give it a long one, I think. He's not kicking quite as long as yesteryear. Hardy's up, but couldn't make over the top that time. And there it is. Pack of players, ball underneath a lot of them. There'll be a bounce.
And it's interesting, Doug, with North Melbourne kicking with this slight breeze, that Phil Cracker is lined up at full forward and Banfield's marking him, and Steve McCann is lined up on the 50-metre circle. So very open forward line, and Phil at full forward.
There's Jim tunnelling the ball through the pack. Larkin, slight fumble, but German there to support him. Reynoldson, good mark, his second mark for the quarter so far. First one was from a pass which found him unopposed, but that time he really earned it. He's got 2 leads out on the far side. Oh, and kicks the ball abysmally. Atrocious delivery straight to Crocker on the centre line for North Melbourne. And that's how to pass it. He finds McCann.
McCann short, will give it to Spargo. Spargo's on the 50-metre mark and could go on with it. He then kicks it long, kicks it beautifully right to the teeth of goal. Over the top it goes, and he's made it. That's his third. He really is a true boot artist, is Spargo. That was on the 50-metre mark, and it was a lovely kick.
And we've mentioned a number of occasions now, Doug. We look at Spargo, German and Cracker. They've now booted 9 goals between them. And that's pretty hard to stop a side when they've got so many running players. Also, John Kennedy has now placed David Ackley onto Mark Williams. Obviously, he believes that Williams is a bit of a danger down there to them. And young Dean McRae has gone into Brad Hardy.
And he's made a change with Segler off and McDonald coming on. Perhaps a sin bin job for Segler after that terrible pass a minute or so ago.
We mentioned before that Stephen Reynoldson hasn't done a great deal today, even though he's featured in the first 5 minutes of this quarter. But really, McDonald hasn't done anything at centre-half forward, neither has Segler, and Fairley when he was there for a short time. So Reynoldson has done pretty well curbing those key forwards.
Lucky Freda Rains, who put his head down into that, but the umpires sympathised. Walsh looks for Hardy, who's outpaced, but tackles strongly. However, the hand pass was good and found Steele to German, to McCann. Ooh, bad miss. Butterfingers McCann, and McCarthy paddles for the line and just reaches it. The throw in on the half-forward flank for North, who lead 95-60 after 4 minutes in this second half.
McCarthy and McCann again. McCann gets a big one out wide. Steele gets a perfect bounce, and will he get past Phillips? He will. Second grab at it, then centres it across looking for Phil Cracker. Punched down, all Cracker's almost taken it. Hand pass comes out nicely. Phillips a short one to Rains. Rains is getting the kicks, but so's German, his opponent, in converting them so well as German. Out it goes to Richardson. Ross Smith behind him. Richardson to the ground, and Smith regains possession. Then boots it downfield beautifully, looking for Crocker, and Crocker takes the mark.
Forward of the centre. North doing just about all the attacking in the first 5 minutes of this quarter. Gibson missing it when he got 2 hands to it and should have held it. Waterson to Rains. Still on the half-back flank of the Bears. Making a bit of a rocky start to this third quarter. North have kicked the only goal so far for a 35-point lead. Mark paid to O'Keefe. On the wing, wingman come key forward for the Bears, who really are struggling for a big man who can take a mark and kick the ball long. Hardy in front. Ross Smith the rover. Bangs it back whence it came. Spargo doing everything right. 3 goals. The last of them a couple of minutes ago from a standing start and 50 metres out. Kicks this long too. It's a thumper to McCann. Used the body well but couldn't take the falling mark. Jonas. Throw in. Forward pocket for North.
One Bears player who's done particularly well is Peter Banfield, who's shadowed Matthew Larkin all day, and he's one small man from North Melbourne who really hasn't got amongst it today.
Yes, I'd say it's by far the quietest match that Matthew Larkin's had for the year. Over the back from Robertson. In front is Dixon. Runs the ball over the line. But anyone who can hold on to Matthew Larkin is performing an enormous job for his side, because Larkin has been North Melbourne's best player for the season and certainly one of the best players in the competition. Nice play, McDonald. Doesn't do much with the hand pass. Punched away by Dixon. Out it comes to McCarthy, who's pushed out by McCann. And McCarthy recovers possession. Some good shepherding by Walsh, but unfortunately for the Bears, McCarthy lost possession. It's out of bounds again.
And Brenton Phillips has been placed onto Peter German, and Jeff Rains is now playing on Spargo. So obviously the Bears want to know exactly who's playing on who.
There's Banfield wearing Larkin like the proverbial glove again. On the 50-metre line, a ball up. North Melbourne in front on the hit-outs, almost 2-1. Let's see if they can win again through McDonald. Well, they do ultimately at the second attempt. German for his 4th. Doesn't kick the full distance, and Dixon took it well in front of Phil Cracker and earns applause from the die-hard Bears. And plays on and kicks to half-back. Mossop forced to spoil against Micken. Throw in between wing and half-forward flank for North.
Mossop's another player who's done a wonderful job in combating Micken. Micken has been the top mark taker for this club, and he's first or second in the league in knockouts, and Mossop has stayed close to him all day, just like that, and his strength has been very good. Here we go down from Law. Over the top it goes, and Phil Cracker comes out and props. Jim Cracker there in the centre of it too. McCarthy look out, but it went over the line out of bounds. Well, David and Goliath, but I would have backed David in that one if it had stayed in play. And I'm sure that Michael McCarthy was pleased to see it out of bounds.
Close to goal for North, just a kick away. McCann, well tackled. Dixon versus Jim Cracker, but Phil's there to support Jim. And there's that little chip pass, and for once, Larkin had about 1 metre on Banfield, and it was enough because the ball was delivered so precisely.
And a terrific little tap up from Jim Cracker to brother Phil set that up.
Larkin just inside 50 metres. Only 5 kicks and 4 handballs. Indeed a quiet day. Good kick. Just offline. The Kangaroos 6 goals in front, 8.5 minutes into the third term. At the moment, the Bears making no inroads at all and not looking like it.
The big traditional cluster that was started by Robbie Walls when he was at Fitzroy to try and utilise the kick out from full back. Out it comes, looking for Micken as usual. Micken went early. Mossop punches it away from him. Good play, Spargo. Nice interception by Phillips. A long hand pass gives Walsh the chance. Walsh steadies and kicks it long, looking for O'Keefe. He's been one of their best. Super punch by Fairley. Here comes German again. Hand pass is a dangerous one to Robertson. Got him under terrible trouble. Phillips is caught but breaks away to Richardson. Richardson down over O'Keefe's head, Fairley running with the flight of it. A beautiful bounce for O'Keefe. Then he lost it very badly, and Fairley recovered very quickly. And with the ball on the ground, there is Fairley. But that was well done by Ian Fairley. And David O'Keefe really lost the run of it a bit. And there's someone, Lee Kuan Yew or somebody, barracking vigorously.
An interesting convert to Australian football. An Asian supporting the Brisbane Bears, and that can only be good for the game. Hardy brilliantly to Bernie Harris, who doesn't miss too often. He went very close to missing that. In fact, within about the width of the cigarette paper. But it just snuck its way home for the Bears' 10th goal. They badly needed it, and they're back within 30 points.
And Brad Hardy with his quick hands then to Bernie Harris, who really ran it well. He ran his full distance, got balanced, just snuck it through. But when you look at the Bears, their on-the-ball players don't kick too many goals, and that's one of the problems. You look at the North Melbourne players, you have a Cracker, a German, a Spargo, the Phil Cracker along with brother Jim. They all kick goals, whereas Richardson, Rains, Banfield and Harris, even though they contribute with some good passages of play, they don't kick goals.
Out it goes to O'Keefe and sends a very long one downfield. In front was O'Brien, nicely trapped there. Is it McRae?
Yep.
McRae, who's doing so well against Hardy. Reynoldsson, a huge leap. Phillips is ridden into the ground. Play on, says the umpire. Picked up by Robertson. Robertson back in the Gibson-Jonas direction. Jonas underneath it takes a good mark. Looks to hand pass. Wants to give it to McDonald. McDonald misses a very easy one. Might regain possession. He does. Quickly out to Steele. Steele to German. Couldn't be more dangerous kicking it, giving it to German. And he just misses. And that's the first time he's looked like missing, and that was a long and difficult shot for number 29. That's his second one, is it, Kev?
No, his first point.
That's the first time he's missed, yeah.
And it was just missed too.
It was very, very close, yeah.
31-point lead to North. Micken the target here from the Waterson kick-in, and gets a free kick. For what? I'm not quite sure. He was second in line in a row of 3. Out to the wing goes Walsh. Richardson, nicely done. Sold the dummy to Smith. Was well shepherded by Banfield and delivers precisely to O'Keefe.
Beautiful kick.
O'Keefe on the half-forward flank, a long way from goal. 15 metres brings him to within about 60 metres. Kicks it quickly, long, accurately, Where are the scouts? Oh, Hardy not there in time. Not his fault, the ball just running away from him too quickly. And it's still 30 points the diff.
And the Breezes with the Shinboners, with North Melbourne. Long out in the Crocker direction, who's so good in the air. His opponent is Walsh. Neither looked like it. Rains tapped it over the top. Crocker doing all the endeavour work. Tried to find Johnny Law. There's Mossop and Micken, who really have been shoulder to shoulder all day. And there's that wonderful ex-Hawthorn player, Peter Knights, who's now coach of the Brisbane Bears.
Mossop getting the tap. Steele back to the centre line. Jonas versus Gibson. Throw in on the wing. 97 plays 67. North leading by 30 points on a beautiful Gold Coast day at Carrara. The Bears up with North in the kicks department. Once again winning their share of the ball, but being outscored. Jim Cracker, but Waterson accepts his hand pass. Gibson. Bernie Harris, who kicked their last goal. O'Keefe, good effort. Pushed solidly in the back. It was a free kick, if not a mark. And the Bears moving it quickly. Comes off too. Rains high in the air to half forward. Richardson front position against Smith. Harris, a scramble kick. First there, McRae. Hardy in pursuit. Into his back. No, play on. Off the ground, out on the full by McCann. And Hardy will take a free kick on the half-forward flank.
And what a long way from home is Stephen McCann. He must have gone onto the ball because he's going right down. No, he's following Rendlesham down.
And Fairley has gone to full forward, Doug.
And that's the reason Stephen's down there. And here's Brad Hardy. Too far out to score. But he can really put it right into the 10-metre square, which he does. Mossop up very high. Robertson chases it. Drives towards the boundary line. Hardy again. 2-1 against him. Left foot snap. And down he went.
Out of bounds, I think.
It was out of bounds, yes. And it'll be brought back, and Brad must have run over the line when he was being pursued and accosted by two very strong North Melbourne Guernseys and bodies.
A few Bears supporters. It's Mark Buckley on the left. Bears always look $1 million in their off-field uniforms. Ball up about 35 metres from goal as Mark Williams looks as though he's saying he got one in the eye, and he's not too happy. Perhaps suggesting that there was a bit of gouging going on in there. I hope not. And I hope I'm misreading his interpretation. Mossop out on the full. So the Bears working hard here. They're holding it in. And they're badly needing a score, and they're looking for it. Fighting very hard for it. Hardy at the 50-metre line for the second time in a minute from out in that position for a kick out on the full. I think the distance might be beyond him, but he's having a shot. Doesn't mind a goal. Lovely kick. Oh, it's a great kick. You just can't underestimate this fellow. Always when things look a little beyond him, he just seems to pull out that something extra. That's his third goal, and it puts the Bears in a position in which they have contact with North Melbourne.
Yes, it's been a good effort by the Bears. One could have thought that maybe North Melbourne may have ran away with the game in this third quarter. But Brad Hardy, who was taken from the field in the second quarter because he wasn't chasing hard enough, kicked his third goal. And he looks a dangerous player, although McRae has got the job on him this quarter after Ackley was the one that beat him in the second quarter.
There's a contest in the centre. Eventually Walsh run to trouble from Spargo. Regains possession. Tackle was too high. Walsh a very polished kick and drives out. O'Keefe's been a very good player. Oh, he could have got off that time. 15-metre penalty. Bad luck against Robertson, because there's no doubt in O'Keefe's mind was to go. Williams and Ackley. Williams, an enormous leap above Ackley. Picked up behind there by Robertson. Nice long hand pass McDonald to Robertson. It was Smith who kicked that other one. Robertson now will drive it out in the Matthew Larkin direction. No, he goes for home. And Matthew Larkin is there with Dixon. And very good mark. Saved the crisis.
Banfield,
the man who's shadowing Larkin, moving back into the back pocket. He's done a super job as Peter Banfield. gets a 15-metre penalty, drives it short to Reynolds. Reynolds and his teammate get in each other's row, but eventually Beckett's with the ball. Beckett at centre half-back, got the chance to send a left-footer, drives it to Richardson, and Richardson takes an excellent mark.
Bears making a change. Carlson coming on to replace Bernie Harris. They're into attack. Hardy's given the slip to McRae again. 50 metres out, so he floats the hand pass to O'Brien. Well done, Ackley, to corner him. And North out of a hole, but perhaps not for all that long. Carlson just off the bench. But good pressure by North from Spargo, forcing a throw in on the wing.
What a slow pair of hands as O'Brien got in that case. Here come the same duo who fought and struggled throughout the match. Mickens won that one and won it well to Richardson. Running away from his own goal, will give it out to Waterson. Waterson looks for Williams. Williams and Ackley having a wonderful battle. Williams too strong. Walsh will give a long hand pass out wide to O'Keefe. O'Keefe will have a shot for goal and kicks it badly. Hardy almost took a tumbling diving mark, and it's thumped away cleverly by Harris. Opportunity now for Jonas. Jonas picks it up and drives to open territory where Larkin leads his shadow and leads him well this time. Banfield behind him. Larkin gets away, hasn't got much to kick to. Waterson comes out to take it on with Phil Cracker and Dixon. Phil Cracker's going to win it and kicks it and just push it down the field. McCarthy's in front of Fairley, and a hand pass goes back, and Dixon's got the opportunity.
Just kept it in. Must have been very close to crossing the line. Banfield nicely. Walsh on the wing. Good tackle, Crocker, and the ball was taken over the line for a throw-in on the wing. And well played, Darren Crocker. Hasn't had the best of days today, but he's a real goer. And you can always back it in that he'll do a few good things in a match, even if he's down. Micken nicely to Richardson. But North closing it up, and Spargo, bad. Carlson in a hurry and blindly, but out in front of Walsh. Ackley comes at him. Well played, Walsh. Richardson, strong tackle, Smith. And well done, North. Sensing the danger. The Bears are within 24 points. And another goal might really give them a sniff of it. Phil Cracker has got the hobbles, and he's on his way to the interchange area.
Been some super tackles by North Melbourne in the last 3 or 4 minutes to save some very dangerous forward thrusts. Here's Crocker. Outwards punched away from Jonas. Nice play, Spargo. Gives a chance to the running German. Advantage rule. Go on. There was a free kick. German kicks it down where Reynoldsson gets the bounce of it. Crawls after it. Eventually does it very well to Gibson. Gibson out to Phillips. Phillips has got the run now. Sends it down to the pocket. Oh, nudged out. It looked to be that time, but the umpire says no. Stelia's got the mark.
15 metres as well against Campbell. Yes, I was with you, Doug, but certainly no argument from Campbell. He was satisfied. Mossop in front of Micken. They've been shoulder to shoulder all day. Banfield to half forward. Williams and Ackley. Couple of old campaigners. Well played, Mark Williams. Flying shot for the Bears is offline.
Campbell.
And a minor score. The margin 23 points.
And I guess, Kev, one of the reasons their running players don't kick goals, that's the Bears are so often they're the shadower, aren't they, and the minder.
That's exactly right, Doug, and because you just haven't, they're more concentrating on doing the negative things and maybe breaking away and doing a positive thing.
A huge kick out that time by Darren Harris once again. Back towards the centre of the ground it comes. Well played, Robertson. A quick hand pass to Crocker. Crocker not really having the best of times, will take a free kick. Vantage rule is played, and here comes a man who hasn't played his dominating game. Larkin will shoot for goal and kicks it just off direction. One behind. Well, it's been the quietest day that that brilliant number 9 has had for a long time, and he's even missing goals that he normally would get.
McCarthy doing the daring and playing on. And there's no one there. A woefully placed kick. Straight to Crocker. There wasn't a Bears player within 30 metres of him. And Jonas now gleefully accepts the pass.
One can't even imagine what went through Michael McCarthy's mind in kicking that ball then. I'm certain that they're the sort of things that drive coaches to jumping out of the box.
Yes, yes.
Or somewhere higher, if there is somewhere higher to jump from. He'll kick from just inside 50. Fairly shepherding. And it went all the way. Well, I really think that could have been touched. McCarthy hanging his head, perhaps feeling he might have got a fingernail on it, but I don't think that went through at a height that made it impossible for someone to get a hand to, and there was only one man shepherding. However, it's a goal to North, and they lead by 30 points.
And a lucky goal too, I would say, because of McCarthy's, you know, poor decision to kick the ball out straight to a North Melbourne player. Under those conditions, you often wonder how, you know, you can see the jumper there, and, you know, why kick it there if there's no teammate, particularly when you're kicking out from a point.
Ross Smith gets lots of assistance from McDonald, who drives a beauty to Steele. Steele gets a long one out to Law. Law will give it back to Steele. Wonderful team football. He steadies now and drives it back to centre half forward. James Cracker. Great spoil from behind by Carlson. Diving German, couldn't get away with it. And he's been penalised. The free kick will go to Phillips. No, it's not Phillips. It'll go to Carlson, who was against German. Walsh, who kicks the ball well. He's got nobody to give it to again. Crocker running with it. They're going to kick to Crocker again. Well, no comment, but Peter Knight at this stage has jumped out of the box, I think. Crocker gets another gift. And he's between... No, he's about centre wing position.
Double 15-metre penalty, it appeared. Crocker forward of the centre line as he kicks. Jonas from the side. McCarthy, Micken, and the Bears getting out of trouble. Rains. Awkward but well collected by Campbell. A dasher. Just beats Crocker's tackle. Doesn't kick so well though. McRae. Barging stuff. Well done. He's tank-like in physique. Steele on the centre line and has 15 metres if he wants to use it. Larkin. Fairly now. Fairly ordinary kick.
Marked it.
Fine mark. Nothing ordinary about that. McCarthy in good position to spoil. And I thought he was going to get the fist to it. Didn't. And there is a man unopposed up in the goal square for North Melbourne, Robertson, who accepts a little McCann pass and dribbles through the easiest of goals. North Melbourne 6 goals in front. It's about the 3rd or 4th time today we've seen North get goals with ridiculous ease like that. And there just seem to be occasions when the Bears fall apart.
Well, on that occasion, quite obviously, just not picking up an opponent quickly enough, and maybe even holding up the man who's got the mark here. Now we see McCann there take that mark. Now, McCarthy probably didn't hold him up long enough. He could, you know, hang on to his jump a little bit and just sort of keep the arms in front, just so that it gives time for his teammates to pick up players and for players to have a look.
Ross Smith out towards the boundary line. Crocker and Hardy go for it. Crocker got there first, but the ball beat him over the white line. It's on the Bears' half-forward flank. And I repeat, hopefully, they've got the breeze in the last term. Here come the two battlers. Well played, Moss, at that time. Back to the centre of the ground it goes. Nice pick up by Campbell. Back comes the hand pass to him. Campbell quickly across to Waterson. Boy, he'd better be quick. He was quick, but not quick enough. Down it comes Steve McCann's in lovely spot. Out it comes, and there's North Melbourne players everywhere, but they get a bad bounce. Waterson picks it up and gives it to Rains. Well, Rains didn't do that well. Spargo's taken away what should have been his ball, and back it comes to centre wing position. A lovely pass again. Nobody at home. The danger man German takes the mark about 55 to 60 metres out. Short pass is very bad to Waterson.
Here's lazy kick. Waterson across ground. Peter Smith in there for the Bears. Gives away a free, or somebody did. It's a trip. German can make up for that poor disposal a moment ago. This time McCarthy makes the spoil. Phillips takes it over the line. And it was against North Melbourne. You might remember in the opening round that Brenton Phillips starred. Kicked 5 or 6 goals. Was unanimously best of field and helped set up the Bears' victory in their first ever VFL game. North deep in attack, leading by 36 points. as umpire Snedden will bounce it 40 metres from their goal.
I don't think Brent Phillips has done a great deal since. It was a wonderful debut. Here's Fairley to Jonas. Oh, what a lightning hand pass to Hickey. Hickey steadies, kicks for goal, but misses. Well, that's the back man's kick. Banished to the back line again will be Hickey.
And we see the bunch, but I wonder if they can get the ball out from the bunch to one of their teammates.
I wonder to whom McCarthy will kick it. Reynoldson up against two, but he went much too early. He was leaving the ground, I think, as McCarthy kicked the ball and landed about 5 seconds before the ball arrived.
They're not prone to exaggeration at all.
Long one from Fairley. Waiting down Dixon. Ran a long way before that first bounce. Steele's late tackle might have just got him off balance enough to force the error with the disposal. Yet another one straight to Crocker. And yet again, Crocker delivers it beautifully to a man. This time it's Robertson. Out on the flank, but within 50 metres, although on a tight angle.
The Bears players have continually kicked it. Darren Crocker in this particular quarter.
There's the siren as Robertson shoots for goal and scores a behind. And at three-quarter time, North lead by 38 points. In that quarter, they kicked 3-5. The Bears managed 2 goals, 3. And at three-quarter,
North Melbourne with such an open forward line, although they have fallen down at centre-half forward. And in that quarter, they moved McCann out to centre-half forward. I think John Kennedy got a little bit concerned when the Bears got within 4 goals and put Fairley back to full forward, but that wasn't successful. And once again, it was left open to the smaller players of North Melbourne to do the damage. And in this last quarter, if the Bears are to have a chance, they've got to really tighten up and see if they can put some pressure on the smaller players. And in fact, maybe some of their smaller players kick goals. We see Jeff Rains that quarter moved out of the centre and played on Spargo. And Jeff Rains is another player who, even though he's done particularly well, his opponents have kicked goals today.
So the final term gets underway at Carrara with North Melbourne 38 points in front of Brisbane and going from right to left, and Ross Smith boots it in that direction for them. McCarthy in the way takes it further in that direction, but with a well-placed hand pass, and Brisbane out of defence, and Walsh taking a fine mark between half-back and centre lines. A good four-quarter player for them today. Off to Phillips. Long to half-forward. O'Keefe from behind. And McDonald making it pretty tough for him. And still making it tough for the Bears is Donald McDonald, as Banfield is hobbling a bit. He's had a big day's work on Matthew Larkin, and it just started to tell in that third quarter as Larkin began to pick up kicks.
Yes, he's done a wonderful job, Banfield. Here comes Matthew Larkin now. Drives it out looking for Ross Smith. Ross gets a butte bounce. Really can't find anyone who's given him a long lead. Leading is Dixon out there in front of Spargo. Dixon's fought pretty well in the back pocket. Hand passes to the boundary line, which is about all he could do, although there was Campbell coming onto the scene. He was closest to the ball. It's out of bounds, half-forward flank.
Another member of the Bears fan club. Fairley the knock. Steele running at it. So was Dixon. And a throw in. With the Bears supporter group overlooking the boundary umpire. Reynoldson and Fairley. Fairley wins in the air and on the ground. Kick not so hot though. And away goes Gibson. From just behind the centre, boots the Bears into attack, but Hardy has the field to beat. Good tackle on McDonald, and well played Brad Hardy, because he was outnumbered about 3-1.
Quite astonishing. That was yet another illustration of them kicking it straight to a North Melbourne player. That was Gibson this time, but 3 times in the last term were the passes delivered to Crocker because there was nobody else there. No player got into position. Here comes Hickey. Hickey steadies, then kicks it long. Underneath it, Gibson once again. Phillips comes in and carries the ball over the white line.
It's the runner on his way out, and I think he's headed in Gibson's direction. We saw Peter Knights on the phone. The runner immediately after that call was on his way out, and that's where he's going. Robertson's kick smothered, but North with men at the ball all the time. However, the Bears managed to thwart them and are in attack. Ackley front position against Williams. Richardson finds the umpire. In fact, the bounce off the umpire, the ricochet, was definitely to Brisbane's disadvantage. Still, they might make a silk purse out of a sow's ear yet. Vice-captain to Captain Micken. High with the left boot, not a great kick. O'Brien front position, Harris the spoil. And a throw-in in the forward pocket.
Well, that was cruel luck, because it was going straight to Hardy, who was alone, and the umpire got in the road and the ball actually hit him. And really, it was a chance. It would have been a pretty easy chance for goal for Brad Hardy. A lovely interception this time. Long across the goal it goes, and it's out of bounds. It was Peter Smith on the field, and it's out of bounds just over the white line, but the Bears are still in attack.
Badly needing a goal. Williams loves riding the pack and loves kicking a goal. Almost did both, but Hardy, no mark. It's a behind. Hardy looking for the whistle, looking to hear the whistle, if he can do that.
I reckon the umpire owes him one, Tim, after that other one when he got in his road. Said in jest, here comes Harris, the long kick. Sent it long looking for McDonald. O'Keefe is with him. McDonald punches it out, brilliantly taken by Rains. Back it goes downfield, underneath it Harris, can't take the mark. Ackley anticipates very well, right on the boundary line, follows on. Williams buffets the ball over the line, and it's out of bounds. The Bears in attack, but having great trouble in getting the final score on the board, getting a score there at all.
37 points the margin. North in front. Mossop. Richardson. Law and Steele at him. Ball up 50 metres from the Bears' goal. If they could kick the first couple in this quarter, they would have a hint of a show, but a long way to go from 37 points down. They're certainly working hard to try and get the first one. Jim Cracker to Steele. Up and down virtually on the spot. Gibson the big thump. Ross Smith. He's a strong, rugged defender and kicks long to the wing. Reynoldson the spoil against Fairley. And now the Bears with the chance. Banfield forward of the centre line. Bernie Harris out in front of Williams on the bounce. Forced backwards. Walsh. Well tackled. Richardson towards Banfield, but they're still being forced backwards. And now there's going to be a ball up between centre and centre half forward.
There's another illustration of why you see statistically so often that the Bears have lots of possessions, more possessions than their team than their opposition, yet still don't really do anything about it. They had 4 or 5 hand passes then and gained nothing, and eventually there's going to be a bounce, so they didn't gain a thing out of it. Here's Hickey, and Hickey kicks to open spaces. Reynoldson's got the run on it. Hand passes back towards Rains. Rains pursued by Larkin. Rains out towards centre wing position. Here comes John Law. Law steadies and drives a short one and drives it well out towards the centre wing position. Fairly down towards 50-metre mark, actually, and Stephen McCann turning like a small man. Hooks it back beautifully, and Spargo running with the flight of it. In to assist him is Jonas. Jonas then hooks it back towards the goal square. Running with the flight of the ball, an opportunity here for Brenton Phillips. Gets a beaut bounce and does nothing with it. Still a chance for them to get out of danger. And eventually is on the half-back flank. And going for run is Harris. Covers 30 metres. And was going to kick and changed his mind. Comes again. Finds there's nobody to kick to. Over the top of Richardson it goes. Harris goes after it. And out of danger, Jimmy Cracker.
Ross Smith on the centre line. Up to half forward. German, clever mark against Phillips. Just outside 50 metres. He's kicked 3 goals. And a rough chance for a 4th if he chooses to have a shot. And what a good mark it was. 25 possessions, 6 marks. Another big day for Peter German. Flexes the muscles, then goes for McCann's lead, and that was just too easy.
And it looked like a pre-arranged move, that, because he lifted the ball above his head, and on that cue, McCann sped out in front. So maybe a few preset plans here on the North Melbourne forward line.
Another one of the lovely kicks in the game. Starts it out left. It straightens, but not enough, or not early enough. So behind to North Melbourne. Yeah, interesting one, Kev. Would they sort that out between themselves, or is that something that the coach would orchestrate?
Well, no, on a lot of occasions it's worked out prior to the game that you will give some sort of signal that that you're going to drop the ball short if a player is ready for it. Often you'll give the indication you're going to kick long, and then the player, of course, will lead up short. But certainly that was obviously a pre-planned move, that one.
Nicken and Mossop again. Left foot out of danger by Harrison O'Keefe, who's been a good player at centre-half forward. McDonald with him this time. And O'Keefe is lagging badly as McDonald then boots it out wide looking for Steele. Steele alone and unattended on the half-forward flank, steadies and tries a short pass. Not a good one. Back it comes to Larkin. Larkin breaks through. He'll give Steele another opportunity to do better with this one. Steele then kicks it long downfield. Punched by McCarthy. Carlson took a heavy one from a teammate. Spargo was... German was fighting for it. Might have been penalised. He will be penalised. The free kick will go there on half-back flank, and it'll be Carlson.
Goes for Reynoldson. Smith winning a lot of the ball in this quarter. Unloads with a massive kick. That was a superb kick. And that would just about wrap it up, even at the 9.5-minute mark of the last quarter. And what a way to do it. I'd say he was nearly 60 metres out when he kicked, and the ball was at about half-post height. Look, there's the 50-metre line disappearing out of shot. He's a good 55 metres out. That's a beauty.
And it landed over the fence, so he's kicked it probably 65, maybe even 70 metres.
Where that wind is we've been talking about, Kev. He's supposed to be kicking into the breeze. That was a beauty.
Has dropped a fraction, Doug.
Dropped a bit, yep. Mossop to Larkin. Larkin enjoying the centre of the ground more at the moment. Awkward bounce gives Crocker a chance again. Reynoldson comes into him. Gives away a free kick. And Crocker has been a good player since half-time. Oh, I thought he was going to get a free. He's not. Umpire's verdict is to bounce it. Mossop wins it to Jonas. Jonas straight to Reynoldson. Reynoldson to Harris. Back to Larkin. A lot of fiddling here. Chance for Dixon. Dixon gets an awkward one. Hits it out wide. Steve McCann comes in to give assistance. Chance for Spargo. Accidental trip. Will take a free kick. And if his past performances are anything like we expect, it'll be a goal to Spargo. Spargo really a very dangerous, elusive player. He's kicked 3. His father was an outstanding Footscray player of yesteryear, and another player of very high skills. Spargo, who was actually coached, I think, by his dad in Albury. And a few good players come from Albury. Kicks for goal. And puts it through. And he's the top goal kicker on the ground now. 1 in each quarter. That's curtains, I think, Kev.
Well, it's hard to see the Bears coming back 11 minutes into the quarter, 75 to 125. Virtually impossible, but it has been a pretty impressive display by North Melbourne, particularly with their smaller type players. McDonald has struggled, so has Segler, Fairley and Jonas. So the bigger type players for North Melbourne have not been able to find form on this magnificent playing surface at Carrara, but it's just been those medium-sized players which continue to be the strength.
50 points is that margin, and no coming back from there. Rains boots them into attack. Hardy in front of McRae. Well played by Dean McRae. Against a very formidable opponent, so formidable that he eventually does win the ball with a fine bit of persistence. And the man closest to it, the umpire says, is Mark Williams. So he takes the free, not Hardy. Big leap by Harris, no mark. Gibson off the ground. Hardy the chance now, and he deserves the goal because his tackle started it, and he joins Spargo as joint highest goal scorer on the ground. He has 4 and gets the Bears 12th.
I think just looking at Brad Hardy, that's his 18th goal for the season, and when you consider he's played a number of games in the back pocket, and only Williams with 20 goals And Edmund, with 29 goals in front of him on the Bears goal-kicking table, it just goes to show the lack of forwards they have to actually kick goals, with him being so high up on their goal-kicking after playing only a handful of goals in that forward division.
Here comes Larkin, boots them into attack again, down towards Spargo. Awkward bounce from McCarthy and McCann. McCann's with it now, then can't take it away from the tenacious Harris. It'll be a bounce, but they've quickly back into attack. And Kev mentioned Hardy kicked 18 goals. 18 goals, 20 is his tally. He's really a very, very clever player.
McCann goes for the backhander. Fairly swift hand pass. Larkin. Swift snap. Steele can have a set shot, but doesn't. Backwards to McCann, and gives him a chance to become the third player to have 4 goals beside his name. And he missed from about this angle, perhaps slightly greater distance, 5 or so minutes ago. I'm sure he can correct this time. He missed to the left then. That is straight through the middle. Nice spot of correction, Steve. Goal number 4, goal number 20 to the Kangaroos. They lead by 50 points once more, and they're going to be back in the top 5 tonight.
The defensive skills here not too good there by Dale Dixon, who really, we've seen this a couple of times now, where North Melbourne are very quick to shoot out that very short pass, and really he should have then come right up to Steele and put his arms right around him and really held him on the ground there until the umpire came in and then asked him to stand back. But letting Steele climb up off the ground, then do a little short kick, was bad defensive play.
Yes, and there was fairly... Spargo standing beside Steve McCann, so there were 2 players waiting for if they needed to. Here comes Gibson, tries to get through his strength towards Carlson. Carlson clever out to O'Keefe. O'Keefe long down towards the full forward zone. A great leap from behind. Hand pass is to Williams. Williams a left foot snap, and it's a very good one. A very good snap by Williams through for a left foot goal, and it brings some applause from the Gold Coast Sunshine people, who haven't had a great deal to get excited about. It's Cameron O'Brien who got it across to O'Keefe, to Williams.
Well, Williams has been one of the better players for the Bears. He's kicked 3, but David Ackley, who went on to him in the 3rd quarter, I felt did pretty well on Williams, and he certainly hasn't been the dominating player he was in that first half. So Ackley, first of all, did a good job on Hardy, and has done a reasonable job, I feel, also on Williams.
Law to half forward for North. And well taken, Crocker. Larkin. But Reynoldson comes away with it. To the centre line, Jonas. Might be 15. Yes, it is. Against Gibson for not letting go. And so Jonas comes forward of the centre. And the umpire says, come and kick over your mark. Never a great possession winner, Peter Jonas, but a constructive player. 13 possessions for the day. Ross Smith up in the front half, unusually. Now Spargo for number 5. He's done it. Goal for goal at the moment. And Paul Spargo, once again, the top goal kicker on the ground.
Ross Smith there, paddling the ball along, and Spargo so quick to pick up. And they're pretty dynamic round goals when you look at German and Spargo and the Crackers. They don't need much of an opportunity, Doug, to pop it through the centre. They don't miss many opportunities.
No, they kick very straight, and incidentally, Steve McCann's a very good kick. His record before the start of this match was 21 goals, 10 for the season, which is pretty good accuracy. Here's a chance for Walsh. Walsh out to Harris. Little Burney goes downfield for another run. Then kicks it looking for Michael Richardson. Richardson 2-1 against him. Taken by Hickey. A very good smother by Carlson gives Gibson a chance. Gibson across to Micken. Micken left foots it down towards centre forward. It's Brad Hardy and his opponent, but behind it's well taken by O'Brien. Good anticipation. Hardy and McRae were battling for it. Shepherded each other out. O'Brien kicks a long one down towards the square. Nobody except David Ackley. A very fine bark by the little back pocket player. He's got a very distinguished record in football. He's a wonderful player for the Sydney Swans. Out to Law, who was too slow, but he was pushed. Pushed by Williams, and Williams is very annoyed about that. And Johnny Law looks to be might have had a little tinge of cramp. Goes back and kicks it short, kicks it out to his teammate. Ackley once again takes him up.
137 North Melbourne, 87 Brisbane. Mossop hasn't taken a lot of marks today, and neither he nor Micken having a really influential part in proceedings. They've been shoulder to shoulder and nullified each other pretty effectively. Reynoldson looking for Rains with the hand pass. It came unglued. Larkin sweeps it into Jonas with a beauty. Inside 50 metres, another sweeper, not so hot. And McCarthy boots it not a long way for the Bears, but at least 50 metres from goal. Walsh. There's a lot of open space out in front of him. He goes for Richardson. Well subdued by Spargo, and a throw in just on North's attacking side of the wing.
Right in front of the men's members, or the members' part, but a very subdued members it is. Nicely taken here by Robertson. Robertson downfield. It's all North Melbourne arms that go for it. It's just too easy. German's got it. German kicks it across the ground to Ross Smith, who kicked an enormous goal a few moments ago. This time from about 35 metres out, now 25 metres out. He'll hand pass across, and Steve McCann gets the second goal. The second easiest of easy goals he's got. Makes his own number 5, and the North Melbourne are just absolutely swamping the Bears now, Kev.
Yeah, it's just too much ability, too many good players, and they're just setting up their goals far too easily. Even though then we saw Phillips there retard German, which was good play. He gave his teammates plenty of time to pick up a North Melbourne opponent, but still he was able to, once he let go of him, he was able to find Smith with no one within 30-40 metres, and it made it a simple goal. So the defensive side of the Bears needs a lot of work.
Robertson kicks North into attack again. Mark, good one too to Dixon. Banfield.
Incidentally, Tim, Reynoldson's been taken off the ground, so they've had everyone in the sin bin at this stage.
Walsh, forward of half-back. Good long left footer, and Micken almost pulling one down, but he too hasn't been taking big marks. Gibson takes Peter Smith's hand pass, kicks long, and O'Brien. A sprawler, 25 metres out, and he can become another one of the 4-goal brigade. He's looked good on occasions, not had too many kicks. In fact, 6 only. So he's done pretty well from limited opportunities. 4 goals from 7 kicks, not a bad day's work if he can cap it off. He doesn't. 3 goals from 7 kicks, well, fair enough.
He's missed a couple, he should have got 2.
Yes, he should have had 6 goals. He's kicked 3 behinds, and they've all been kickable, such as that one. But he looks a good prospect for him, Doug.
Too right, Kev. I was just going to say that was a very athletic mark, wasn't it? You know, he really showed great athletic skills. Now there's a ball disappeared, and the crowd are getting a lot of interest out of this. There's Darren Harris saying whatever's going on here.
Well, he's a good size, and you know, he's had very few, less than 10 games of league football, so he's really relatively inexperienced. So he's a player who the Bears can build on.
I might have found a few, although Carlson and Tony Beckett haven't really done much today, but Carlson's a player who is capable of getting a lot of possessions. Here's Stephen McCann, the full forward, up looking for the... well played, Ackley. Out to McCann. McCann cleverly to German. German's played a super game. Off he goes running. Doesn't kick that one well. In front is Walsh. Walsh drives it. Asking a lot of Carlson, but he does the best. He does it very well against Robertson. Spargo was there as an opponent too. Well, Cameron O'Brien loves to be from behind. Carlson now drives out wide for a lead from O'Keefe. Well, they get to each other's road. Here's O'Keefe now out to Campbell. Campbell kicks it across the face of goal, and up goes Mr. Larkin. Takes a mark on his chest. Out wide looking for Steele. Steele is there with Ross Smith. Ross Smith will get there first and be well shepherded. Smith then kicks down looking for Jim Cracker. Jim Cracker never makes a mistake as far as ball handling is concerned. Out wide it goes over towards Jonas. Here's another easy one. Jonas, a lovely long hand pass, fairly kicks a goal. And I repeat what I said earlier, they're just doing it so easily, and that's when a team is a really team full of running and full of class. Another easy goal.
I think the last 3 or 4 goals, Doug, have been kicked just simply by hand passing to a teammate who's been unattended or in the goal square. So difficult for the defence when the ball's coming down so quickly and players are not being manned up, and you can run into the forward zone bouncing the ball, and with about 4 or 5 options it can make it pretty difficult. Once again it comes back to players just running very hard and defending very stoutly. But if you haven't quite got the ability, it's pretty difficult as well.
Carlson gaining 15, 20 metres as the ball dribbled. McDonald. And North getting clear through Robertson to the centre. A free kick the Bears' way to Rains. 15-metre penalty. Brings him into the attacking half. And he's one of the lovely long kicks of the game. Big thump McCann, who's kicked enough goals, says the coach. He can go back into defence. Brad Hardy hasn't kicked enough. He always likes to kick another one, and he gets his 5th. And pretty well played, Brad, up forward, but not enough because the Bears still trail by 55.
It's been terrific for him, I reckon, Brad Hardy, in the last few weeks, playing in that permanent forward pocket position. Had one bad quarter when Ackley took him apart in that second quarter, but since Ackley has gone across to Williams, he's really enjoyed playing on young McRae.
He's an absolutely super player, I reckon. I've seen him play a few of the most stunning games I've ever seen. He really is. Some underrate him a little, I think, when playing in a team that's played so dismally. To kick 5 goals to go in that real starvation corner in forward pocket is a massive job. There's Darren Crocker, sitting on the bench, having a bit of a rest, I hope. I hope he's not hurt, because he's been a very good player, particularly since half-time. Here's a very good player too in Ross Smith. Sends it out wide and a long lead, and Segler takes the mark. Right on the 50-metre mark. Michael McCarthy, his opponent there.
And McCann has gone to full-back, and Harris has gone to centre-half forward.
There's Reynolson battling for it, back on the ground. Jonas, who hand passes beautifully, out to German, who always kicks beautifully. This time, not quite so good for Phil German. 1 behind.
It's his brother, is it? Peter's brother?
Peter? Well, it'll do.
Had a pretty good day. He's kicked 3. Harris putting it back in for the Bears. Dixon, Carlson, Beckett, Long, O'Keefe. Donald says not getting away easily. Forces him to go back and take his kick. To centre half forward. The scout is Law. They're back to O'Keefe from 60 metres out. Kicks to full forward. Williams in front. Good spoil, McCann. Hickey. And back with Law again. And Gentleman John parks it beautifully onto the chest of Spargo.
And Spargo kicks it down looking for Segler and finds him. Segler hasn't really had a lot to do, but he's looked pretty good at times. He kicks it wide. Jonas again, fumbles. Nothing happens fast. Reynolson with the ball. Out to Peter Smith, who's the brother of Ross Smith in different sides. Tony Beckett on to Rains. Rains breaks the tackle. Kicks it long out looking for Carlson. Carlson, a local product. Gives it back into the centre of the ground to Dixon. Dixon downfield. Mark Williams in front. Was pushed just a little. Hand pass comes out wide. And it's Michael Richardson has his first shot for goal. Hardy shepherds beautifully, but the ball wasn't straight enough from the Richardson boot. It's through for 1 behind.
That's his 20th behind for the year, Doug.
Gee, he's such a good kick too, and we always talk of him being a great finisher, Kev. It doesn't seem like him, does it?
8 goals and 20 behind. So just that's one of the areas that we've mentioned before where a lot of the players win the ball very well, but just can't convert.
Half forward flank for the Bears. In this last quarter, North have kicked 6 goals to 3. Now, I don't want to suggest that Doug Hayward wouldn't get a job as a weatherman on ABC television, and he'd be very good at it. But North have kicked 15 at that end against the wind. Here goes Bernie Harris, shoots for goal and sinks it.
Why do you blame me and not Kevin Bartlett as well? I mean, he's the referee who started it. Yeah.
Let's clarify that, Doug. We said it was a very slight wind, equal to about 2 goals, which is not a gale.
But they have kicked 15 into it out of 23, which would suggest if there's any breeze out there, it's perhaps favoured the other end.
Well, you have a look at the flags that are all pointing south and tell me why they're kicking north.
They're pointing to the ground at the moment.
He's blind as well as stupid, actually.
I think we also mentioned, Tim, that it did drop off.
What about the wind?
In come the big fellows once again. Jeffrey Rains fights for it. I thought should have taken a free that time. Reynoldson, nice hand pass. Phillips, short pass, dangerous, but did it well. It was dangerous for the man who took it bravely.
That was before the second quarter when they kicked 9, was it?
No.
Dale Dixon gets a 15-metre penalty. I don't know what he tried to do with that one, but in front was Steve McCann to take it away from whoever it was intended for. McCann out wide looking for John Law. McCann's a magnificent kick. Out to Law. Here comes Peter German. Not good. Phillips short to Campbell, and Campbell gets around the man mark. He's a beautiful kick normally. That's not one of his good ones. The mark is taken by the fighter, Mark Williams. He always looks as if aggressive and bustling, and he never stops trying. He's going to try a short one to Micken. And Micken takes the mark, but I reckon it's too far out for Micken to score. So that was quite unusual team tactics, yeah.
It's the longest centering kick I've ever seen.
I think he forgot which goal he's kicking to.
He'll make the distance, won't he, Doug? He's kicking with the breeze.
Yeah. Thanks, Kev. You speak well. Come on, Mick, and he puts it through. That, by God, the wind got it through there. Good goal.
He wouldn't have kicked it at the northern end.
That would be the longest kick the wrong way by Williams since Russell Cook at the Lakeside Oval about 25 years ago forgot which way South Melbourne were going and roosted it the wrong way.
Well, Kevin Sheedy did that in front of about 80,000 people at the MCG once against Collingwood and hit Phil Carman on the chest, and Francis Burks never let him forget it.
Tommy would have been pleased too, wouldn't he?
Oh, ecstatic.
30 minutes gone, and the Brisbane Bears coming home with a gale-forced wind. Could get up yet, as Cracker puts North into attack. Carlson. That was Rains to half forward. Williams, oh, was it a mark? No, it wasn't. Yes, no, play on is the call. Long shot by Gibson, and it's another one to the Bears.
O'Keefe.
Better concentrate on the football and not the weather. The margin back to 37 points.
Actually, the umpire paid the advantage then, Tim.
Which surprises me because, as I'd pointed out at one stage earlier in the season, that if he's paid a mark, he's not supposed to implement advantage. He can, when a free kick would penalise the side, but if it's a mark, the mark has been taken and therefore the kick should be taken.
The only thing maybe in the umpire's favour there was that the player fell right over the top of Williams and maybe he paid a free kick instead of the mark.
I reckon that's it.
Mossop kicks it down. Battling there was Robertson. Open goal down there, but it won't bounce the right way for him. Will it? It does. Peter Smith chases it. No, it doesn't get back swiftly enough with an off break, and it's through for one behind. Got some statistics there, Timothy. They're getting close to fourth place, are they?
Well, they actually, when they led by 9 or 10 goals, had got their percentage up high enough to take fourth place from Footscray, but it looks as though they might have just lost it. The percentages apparently are almost identical. The match is over. North Melbourne have won it by 38 points at Carrara. There's the scoreline. Certainly a convincing victory to North, and another setback for the Bears, who have had some big losses recently, but the final score 23-12, 150 North Melbourne. Brisbane 17-11, 113. North by 37 points. We'll go back to our Melbourne studio, and we'll be back.
Arsenal there with those small players all around the ground, and he utilises them so well. I felt today that the Bears it was an improved performance. They certainly started the game off very vigorously, I felt, and also they moved the ball extremely well. And Brad Hardy was a good player on that forward line with 5 goals. Also, Cameron O'Brien at full forward with 3 goals showed that he's a player who can do very, very well for them. But they do fall down, and I think we've spoke about it, Doug, in the division of ruck rovers and say at centre half forward and flankers kicking goals. And you look at their players today, and we see that Richardson played very well today, Michael Richardson. Jeff Rains won the ball well, of course, but German kicked goals on him. And we look at Banfield, who did a good job tagging Matthew Larkin. We look at Bernie Harris, who flashed in and out of the game a couple of occasions. But none of those players, Doug, ever seem to kick a large number of goals.
It is interesting, Kev, because I've heard other coaches say this about their side. You know, it's a precious asset to have people who can kick goals, as you'd know very well yourself, doing it yourself, and they don't seem to have that ability to convert and finish off. And I know you feel they did well, but when you think about it, if Hardy hadn't been there kicking 5 of them, it really is a very worrying performance from the overall team performance for the year. You wonder what the Bears can do. They can't, they believe today, get any more top players this season. They say they'll be out chasing them next year, but it's going to be awfully difficult for Peter Knightson. When you think of it, Brad Hardy is the only established player, the only player that wasn't sought, apart from, I say, Mark Micken, who wasn't really sent off by other clubs. And he does shine out like a beacon in this side, and it really is. They just run out of class very quickly. The effort's there, the endeavour's there, but gee, they need a couple of key position players.
And because they do lack class, Doug, they fall down in some areas which the good sides don't, and that is when a player wins the ball, that the good sides really tackle them, they hold them there, they don't allow them to play on quickly. Their teammates very, very quickly pick up their opponents so that they can't get a quick hand pass off or a quick kick. But the number of times today where we saw North Melbourne players from free kicks or marks able to just turn around and kick short kicks to unguarded, unopposed teammates and play on with hand passing, it just made it look too easy, and therefore they were able to set up the loose man run down the field, and particularly in that second half, a number of goals coming from easy hand passes over the head of a defender and a simple goal kick. So there are areas that they should be able to tighten up on, simply because it's a defensive part of the game, but you've still got to have a lot of class and skill to be able to do it.
Yeah, it's interesting to see they're strong on possessions. When you look statistically at the Brisbane Bears, they're probably about 5th or 6th in the league, yet here they are almost down at the bottom. They don't use them today. What was it, 3 times in a row they kicked the ball just beautifully. Darren Crocker, not a teammate inside, so they've got a lot of deficiencies, I'm afraid, Timothy.
Yes, it reads a bit that way. Unfortunately, the last few weeks not reading well for the Bears. A 100-point loss to Carlton down in Melbourne. A hammering against the Swans here. An even worse one against Hawthorn here. Last week in the mud against Essendon, beaten by 37 points. Today, at least, an improvement at home. A 38-point loss to North Melbourne. There has been an amendment, I believe, to the score. The final score, North 23-13, 151 to the Bears 17-11, 113. The major goal scorers for North, McCann and Spargo with 5 apiece, 3 each to Jim Cracker and German. And for the Bears, Hardy doing best in attack with 5, 3 apiece to Mark Williams and Cameron O'Brien. Very tight, the battle for 4th position on the VFL table. Drew Morford's got the details down in Melbourne, so we'll let him sort out the percentages between North and Footscray. But no doubt about the fact that the Kangaroos, with their win at Carrara, have won their way back into the top 5. On behalf of Doug Hayward and Kevin Bartlett, Tim Lane for ABC Sport, bidding you a good afternoon, and back once again to Drew.
Thanks, Tim, and I must say that while the boys were working out which direction the wind was blowing at Carrara, Andy Demetrio here in the studio was biting his nails, because at one stage North got clearly ahead of Footscray on percentage, but by the end we believe they're just behind. In fact, Footscray's percentage 101.9, and we now believe that North Melbourne's percentage is 101.85, which would convert to 101.9. So we've just put North just a fraction behind Footscray, level on points, and if you go down to a 1/10 of a point, level on percentage. But well, that's the league ladder. Of course, Hawthorn beating Carlton yesterday by a point made sure they didn't let the Blues skip away by 3 games, and they lead by just a game. But you weren't too impressed with the last 5 minutes or so, because the Bears kicked the last 4 goals.
Well, I think that we worked out, Drew, that we taken our percentage up to 103, and those last 5 minutes may prove costly, because it's cost us between 2 and 3%, and I think we're probably 5th on the ladder now.
Well, that's right, and the last quarter finished up being dead level. It looked as though you were absolutely going to slaughter them, but the margin was 38 points at three-quarter time and 38 points at the end. And that's one of the things about the Kangaroos that I've admired, that you really fight things out. Now, I don't think John Kennedy would be too impressed today.
Yeah, unfortunately, we haven't been able to really crush a team and, I suppose, go on with it and win by 10 or 12 goals, and that's something we should be concerned about. I mean, we had an opportunity there, and we got to 10 goals in front, but full credit to the Bears. They fought it out right to the end and kicked those last 4 or 5, and they peaked us back to 38 points, but I'm sure that we'll be working on rectifying that situation in the next few weeks.
Well, OK, you've been in the team when that sort of thing has happened before and you haven't really buried the opposition. Has it become hard when, oh, well, you might be thinking, gee, the opposition's a joke, we've just got to go through the motions?
I don't think you could describe it that way, but it probably, if the players have been working hard to get to 10 goals ahead, that perhaps they become a bit complacent and stop running and do all the hard things that they were doing previously to that. And you can see what happens there. From a team that's 10 goals ahead, they all of a sudden come back to being 4 or 5 goals ahead, and the Bears, if you just give them an opening, all of a sudden they take it.
OK, thanks very much for joining us in the studio today.
I've enjoyed it, Drew.
Well, it's terrific. Next time, get back in the league side, so you don't have to come in and go through all the hassle here under the lights in the studio.
The lights are killing me.
Andrew Demetrio, our special guest today in the studio in Melbourne. Hope you've enjoyed the telecast live from Carrara today. Very shortly, we'll be going to the Sports Arena studio and highlights of the football in the news at 7. Here's Charles Slade.